Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Vince Taglavia. We're going to be watching Donald Trump live in Bozeman, Montana tonight, so thank you all for joining me. We're waiting for him. He's running late today. He had some issues with his airplane, and people were let into the venue about almost an hour later than expected, but people are being seated and filling up, so I think Trump should be going live here soon. Until he does, we're going to be talking about some of the news and events from today and over the week. So thank you all for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Thank you all again for joining from across the internet. Trump War Room just put this post out here 10 minutes ago. See you soon, Montana. Trump to speak at 10 p.m. Eastern time, which of course it has elapsed, but that's okay. They put this video out on RSBN. Let me show y'all this crowd. Look at this crowd. Just pan through. This is from RSBN's camera. It's pretty cool. Pretty crowded. Pretty big crowd. So we're waiting for Trump any moment. We don't know when exactly it'll be, but, you know, we'll be here ready for when it happens, and we'll listen to what Trump has to say in Montana. So, yeah, his plane had some kind of mechanical issue, and Trump Uh-oh. Great. Testing. 1 2 1 2. I apologize. Yeah, so Trump had a problem with his airplane and had to land in Billings instead of his other location, and then from there he had to take a private flight over to this rally. So people were worried at the time that news broke, but apparently it's just a minor technical issue and everything's fine. That's what Junior implied, Trump Jr. on X. So that's good news. This is footage of the crowd from RSBN. We're waiting for Trump still, and we will continue on discussing news until then. Good to see you, Fairy Goddess Vince. We miss you. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And good to see Left Maryland over there. And everybody else, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So the crowd's looking good. Everyone's ready. They finally let them in and opened the doors. And we are standing by for that. Trump, once he landed in Montana a few hours ago, he put this message out. So let's listen to this from Trump from his plane, it seems, today.
I just landed in a really beautiful place, Montana. It's so beautiful flying over, and you just look down, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But we have a very high rating in Montana. We have a lot of popularity. I like them. They like me. But I'm here to do some fundraisers, and most importantly, to support Tim Sheehy, who's running for the U.S. Senate. And we think he's going to do really well. We're going to have a rally. and it'll be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow we're going to do some more different stops, different states, all good, all great people. And we're leading in all of the polls now. Just about every poll has us leading. They found out that this is a phony that we're running against, a person that had no idea what she was doing on the border, has no idea what's happening with inflation, had no idea what they did when it came to Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the life of our country. There's never been anything so embarrassing. We should have gotten out with dignity and strength, not the way they got out. It's an embarrassment to our country. So we have a great campaign. We have something that's going to be really very important. It's called, we are going to make America great again. And it's going to happen very fast. We're going to become energy independent again. Prices are going to start going down, including for food, for energy, and everything else. And we're going to really do a job. Thank you very much.
All right. So there you have it. Trump's message from when he was wheelsed down in Montana. Of course, if you're just tuning in, we're waiting for Trump to take the stage in Montana and deliver his remarks in this rally. Bozeman, Montana. Looking forward to it. This is gonna be good because there's more news that's happened. Trump's gonna be able to comment on some things. I suspect he's going to do as he does and do a little trolling. Maybe mention Kamala in the upcoming debates. She did agree to, I think she agreed to one debate, but she will not agree to the Fox debates. Well, actually, you know what? That might be a fun one to pull up because she was asked about this by somebody in the media, these debates. So Harris, what did she have to say about that? She's looking forward to the one debate. We know she said that. Let's check this out real quick, y'all. And again, we're waiting for Trump. He's running a little late today from his plane and whatnot, but it'll happen soon. Let's listen to this clip. I think this is the one about the debates.
President Trump had a press conference today. He talked about a lot of things. Wonder if you have a reaction to what he talked about.
Well, I'm glad
It's
that
not
he
it.
finally agreed to a debate on September 10th. I'm looking forward to it, and hope it shows up.
President Trump had a...
Let's see. One moment. There's another clip here. Let me find it. I do not have it handy. Oh, here it is. It's great when reporters do their job and ask good questions because you get clips like this. One moment here. Here we go.
Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this photo of everyone. Look right here.
What about the other
Madam
2? No comment. Avoid it. What other 2? So she avoided that part of the question. I think she just doesn't want, and this is just me guessing, I don't know. My guess is she doesn't like Fox News. She doesn't like the way that they're going to handle it. Maybe it'll be fair. Maybe it'll be favoring Trump. We know different news agencies do the debates different ways. So she's agreed to one debate. And, you know, it is what it is. So at least we get one. We'll see what happens, though. A lot could happen before then. You know, who knows? Really, who knows? I certainly don't, but that's what's happening here. So we heard from Trump. We have some crowd videos coming in from Montana. Let's take a quick look at some of those. Why don't we? As we wait for Trump here to take the stage. He was supposed to be live a half hour ago, but he's late because he had plane issues. He had to take a private jet, etc. So I don't know when he's going to be live. Any moment. Could be a while. Could be soon. I don't know. I wish I did. But here's another view of the crowd that somebody took on the ground there in Montana. Looking pretty full. I don't see any bleachers folded up. So that's always a good sign. I noticed Kamala's holding her rallies, and it's always in tandem with a musician or a rapper or a singer. And I think people are starting to point that out more and more, that it's just a little bit strange. Trump supporters were let in 40 minutes late, and the delay on why they were let into the event so late never was explained. So that's a little odd. Hopefully they're just making sure everything's safe and secure. I would imagine maybe that's just the case. But the fact they were let in late and then Trump had the plane issue, people are a little bit on edge, a little concerned, but I think it's fine. Hey, Dad, Trump wants four debates, but she only agreed to one. She should be transparent and tell the truth. She wants them on her grounds. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it's not a good look when she's avoiding questions and lying. And, well, I guess it kind of is lying. Maybe it's dishonest behavior, just to kind of disregard a question and move on. It's a tactic, I guess. But I think that's the case, too. That she wants to control the debate rules. And Trump already said he's not doing it, right? He already said, I'm not agreeing to your debate. He's kind of putting his foot down. I don't think he's going easy on Kamala at all. Let's see. This is independent media. Is this guy on the... This guy might be there in Montana. Brandon Gutzschwager on the scene documenting history. Yeah, it looks like this guy is an independent media journalist, is on the floor there and putting out some videos. Check this out. Build that wall, they're chanting as they wait for Trump. Let's pause it there. Look at that's a big crowd. They're waiting for Trump. This is in Montana right now. So they're ready. They want the wall built. They're concerned. People are really concerned. I talked to a lot of people online and friends and family, and they're concerned with how many people are coming through that border. Millions and millions and millions. It is very concerning, especially as we see these protests happening in the UK. Just devastating protests. I don't know if you guys have seen this, how much the media is covering that, but there are massive protests in the UK. People are being arrested. It's violent. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just not good. It's not a good situation at all. So we're gonna follow Brendan, who's there on the scene. Trump supporters gathered inside Brick Breeden Fieldhouse ahead of Trump's speech. More, just to give you a perspective on the crowd size here. No concert needed. Packed. We'll see. So, Trump is not live yet. We're still waiting. Standing by here, y'all. Yeah, very nice crowd. I'm going to keep Brendan's profile pulled up here because he's on the ground there. He might be posting things here as we get started. More crowd stuff. I'm going to pass this up for now. And we're going to talk about a little bit of news. Fox put this out tonight. Fox News tonight, prime time, drops another Tim Walz bombshell. And they highlighted a few things. They're really making some wild accusations about Tim Walz, who was having a PR nightmare as he was being accused of stolen valor. As soon as he was announced as the VP pick, everybody jumped on him about being dishonest about his time in the service, because apparently the story is that he retired and left just before he was going to be deployed, but then he claimed to have the rank that he never completed the requirements to have that rank, something along those lines. I'm not 100% certain on that, but after that PR nightmare, his campaign came out and said it was what did they say? They said he misspoke. They said Walz misspoke. And that's how they explain that one. He just simply misspoke for like a decade or 2 decades. Misspoke the same lie again and again, whatever. Some say it's not a lie. He just misspoke. But Anyway, this is big, that what Fox came out with. So let's watch this clip. It's a little bit long. If Trump goes live, I'm switching right over to it. But we're just filling in time right now, going over some news, staying up to date as we wait for Donald Trump live in Montana. So thank you all for joining again. I see a few more people have piled in here across the different platforms. So it's good to see you. Fork you, Eddie. What's up, Vince? What's up, Eddie? Good to see you. All of you all on X and the Rumble and everywhere else. Keep true. I see you over there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Check out what Fox News covered today. And I want to give a shout out to Santino for clipping this at Michael S. Colura and putting this on X. This is just pretty. This is a lot. So here we go.
Tonight, we're dropping another Walz bombshell. As governor, Walz let a gang of politically connected Somali fraudsters steal $250 million of your money. It was the single biggest COVID scam in American history. During the pandemic, the government was giving out money left and right. A nonprofit in Minnesota, Feeding Our Future, got $250 million to send food to needy kids. Sounds good, right? Here's the problem. Almost none of it was used for food. The Somali scammers blew our cash on real estate, cars, extravagant get trips. We have wire transfers that show thousands going to car dealerships. $160,000 went to some company in China. And $500,000 was sent to Kenya to buy an apartment. A $500,000 apartment in Kenya is probably a palace. But our tax dollars weren't just used on goodies. The politicians got a taste too. Ilhan Omar got thousands of dollars in donations from some of the scammers. These guys weren't criminal masterminds. It was sloppy. When they cooked the books, they made up names of their fake clients. They came up with these names. Are you ready? Unique Problem. Friday Donations. How'd nobody catch that? Well, early on, Walz's administration thought it looked a little suspicious, so they froze the funds. Then the Somalis sued and called Walz racist, so he kept letting them steal. They didn't bother to crack into the bank accounts or issue subpoenas. Walz just put his hands in the air and said, I'm not racist. Take whatever you want. Minnesota has a huge Somali population. You can't get called racist and expect to win another election there. Walz even gave one of the fraudsters the Minnesota Outstanding Refugee Award. 3 years later, she was indicted. No thanks to Walz, the feds came in after he ignored the problem for years. During the trial, the Somalis tracked down a juror and dropped off a Hallmark bag on their doorstep, filled with 120 G's, and a little note saying there's more to come if she acquits. This all happened under Walz's nose. He had every chance to stop it and failed. Just like he failed to protect his city during the riots, and just like he failed his unit when he retired before deployment. This is the guy Kamala Harris chose as her number 2. Donna Bergstrom ran against Walz for lieutenant governor in 2018. Donna, how did he win after all of this stuff is coming out about him? This, and this. How is this possible?
It is astonishing, isn't it? And thank you for having me here, Jesse. This is really a pleasure. I'm so happy that people are finally bringing this out about our governor. We've known about this for a long time. And one of the things that's truly astonishing about this is not just the numbers and the level of the fraud, but actually that he takes no responsibility for it. There hasn't been anybody that's been removed or put on administrative leave so that they can look into these issues. And this is just really the tip of the iceberg. There's Medicare fraud, there was daycare fraud, there was an autism support fraud, there was workers' compensation pay fraud. So, his middle name must be fraud, because here we see it over and over again. And it's truly astonishing.
So Tim, under Tim's nose, these Somali identity pirates scammed $250 million. They caught them, and then he got called racist, so he backed off, and then didn't fire anybody. Never fired a single person for getting ripped off more than any other state in the country during COVID?
That's my understanding of it, and that's what I believe is his stance, is that he did nothing wrong, and that you'll see his pattern over and over. He'll point to somebody else and put the blame on somebody else. So it fits his pattern, and I saw it in 2018 as well. He just has this pattern of appeasing whoever he's talking to, whatever audience he's with. So we'd come up here to Northeast Minnesota. I'm in Duluth right now, but he'd come up to Northeast Minnesota with a mining T-shirt, and then go down to the metro area, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and he'd have an anti-mining T-shirt on. So it fits this pattern that he's going to just do or say whatever he has to do to keep himself in power, keep himself elected.
Wow. So that's some really interesting stuff there. Some really huge accusations. This is Santino.
Tonight.
This is Santino who clipped this and put it out there. He puts out a lot of good breaking news and follows everything very closely daily. So please follow Santino if you're on X. Great one to follow. He also is the ultimate co-host if you like X Spaces, so you could talk with him and join the conversations and listen on X. He put this out and he highlighted some of the points. You can't make this up. COVID scammer and the level of his fraud. Waltz failed to stop $250 million COVID scam, Medicare fraud, daycare fraud, autism support fraud, workers' compensation pay fraud, 150 grand dropped on a juror's doorstep. Scammers donated thousands to Ilhan Omar. Waltz gave indicted scammer refugee award. So Fox must have the information. If they're out there posting this and making these accusations against Waltz, I'd imagine they have the evidence. And we all know Ilhan Omar's history with this stuff. So, I tend to believe this stuff. So just absolutely true and real and concerning. Some people, I've talked to some people and they're like, this doesn't make sense. Wouldn't they, I forget who said this. They said, wouldn't they have thoroughly vetted Waltz before making him Kamala's pick for VP? They didn't look at this stolen valor situation or this alleged fraud. It's almost like they want it to be horrible. Or are they that off target? I don't know. So I wonder if they're just that far off target, or who knows? It is pretty bad. How are they that incompetent to where this is the case, that they just made a mistake, this huge mistake after mistake after mistake? I mean, they just don't care, maybe? I don't know. It's crazy. Waltz's daughter, Fork You says, did you see Waltz's daughter's story? No, Fork You, send it to me on X and maybe we'll cover it. I don't know Waltz's daughter's story, the story about his daughter. I can look it up. Why don't we do that? Walt's daughter. What's this story about? Let's see. Oh, this seems very sad. I don't know if you have an article or something, please send it my way. Appreciate it. All right, onward. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, folks. We're waiting for Donald Trump to go live here. Oh, I still have this down here. We're waiting for Donald Trump to go live. He's running a bit late. Let me refresh this just to make sure I don't miss this speech here from Trump in Montana. No, we're still waiting. So we're just going to cover some news until he hops up on stage and begins speaking, and then we'll watch it together and discuss some of the key points and highlights. Maybe he'll give us something good today. Yeah, so Trump did have plane issues flying into Montana and had to make an emergency landing at a different airport. He had to land in Billings and then take a private plane over to the event. So I think that is attributing to some of the delay. There was also a delay with letting people in at the event itself. However, the crowds are just huge. They're waiting for Trump too right now. Let's see if Brendan Guten's vlogger has put anything else. He's on the scene in Montana, an independent reporter. Let's see what he's, if anything. Nope, he posted a video of people cheering "Build the Wall," and since then he's just been hanging out. There's nothing in the last half hour, so we're just standing by. All right, let's see what else we got here. A lot of streamers, a lot of popular streamers out there. Generally, they're in their 20s, 30s, younger guys and girls. They live stream video games on Twitch and what's the other platform? I forget the name of it. Whatever. They stream on different platforms. A lot of them have been coming out. I think I've seen 3 big ones where it's people that have like millions of followers. These streamers, very popular. They've been putting out videos telling Kamala's team to stop contacting them and offering them cash. They're claiming that they're being offered cash in order to make posts or support Kamala or whatever. And a lot of them are coming forward and saying they're not going to do it. So that's an interesting development in this election year. 10 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, it is delayed. Thank you, Glenda, over there on X. Let's see. We have a post from RSBN. Let me see if maybe they're giving us an update on. They just posted this packed house at President Trump's rally in Montana. Just look at the crowd, they wrote. And we saw this crowd. We're just waiting. Let's just go cut to this clip here of in Billings from RSBN. Here we are. It is an absolutely packed crowd, and we're waiting Trump. It looks like RSBN, as usual, is streaming this as well. We got a weird, really, not weird at all, actually, but I just thought it was strange ABC was covering this special counsel investigating Hunter Biden story that we're going to cut to here in a second. But yeah, this is just the crowd over there, brought to us from RSBN as we await Trump in Montana. But I want to cut to this story here as we wait. And if Trump makes his appearance, I will cut over to that immediately so we could enjoy the show. But until then, ABC put this out. I thought this was interesting. Regarding Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Nothing's ever been done about this. A new claim with the Hunter Biden situation.
It's not a new charge, but it is a new claim that the special counsel is making in a new court filing tied to Hunter Biden's tax case that's scheduled to go to trial next month in California. And the claim is that Hunter Biden was doing not illegal foreign lobbying, but something for about $1 million that he took from this Romanian real estate tycoon who wanted Hunter Biden to intervene and get the U.S. government to intervene in this corruption battle he was facing in his home country. The special counsel does not allege that Hunter Biden did anything wrong. They say it's evidence that his mind was clear at the time he failed to pay his taxes, where, of course, Hunter Biden said his mind was not clear because he was deep in the throes of drug addiction. It's not a new charge.
So we'll see. We'll have more on Hunter here soon, as well with Trump, right? I think they're going to try to throw Trump in jail. And somebody told me, Glenda, thank you so much over on X. Glenda said, watching on RSBN, Governor of Montana is coming on now. He'll likely be introducing Trump. So that's good. Good news. Good news there. Maybe we'll listen to the governor introduce Trump. But on the feed I have, they're not playing anything except Trump. It's Trump's feed. But here we go. Let's see what.
Is as effective as a screen door on a submarine. Donald Trump will finish the wall and secure our border once and for all. Have you seen this guy they nominated as their vice president? Tim Walz? He's soft on crime, and his so-called peaceful protester destroyed his entire state. And Kamala Harris, she bailed him out. We need to defeat Harris and Walz and send Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to the White House. But they need our help. And that starts with electing Republicans up and down the ballot. And let me just say, I would be honored to have your vote in November. Together, we've worked to fight the Harris agenda, her war on coal, and her war on Montana values. But it doesn't stop there. We need to send Ryan Zinke and Troy Downing back to the House of Representatives. We need to fire career politician John Tester and send Navy SEAL Tim Sheehy to the Senate. And we need to fire Kamala Harris, make number 45 number 47 again. All, you know it, so we can make America great again. It's my great honor to introduce our next speaker. Tim Sheehy is a father, a husband, a combat veteran, a patriot, and a job creator. He has lived the American dream while serving our great nation.
That, folks.
Make Montana proud. Make no mistake, the fight for the U.S. Senate starts right here in Montana. John Tester votes with Harris 95% of the time. In fact, Tester recruited Harris for the Senate. What's up with this guy? Tim Sheehy in the Senate. Montana will have a true leader who will fight inflation, secure the border, and help President Trump make America great again. Please join me in welcoming my friend and your next U.S. Senator, Tim Sheehy.
There we go. We'll hear Tim Sheehy next. And I'll cut to that as soon as he's up here. And then we'll have Trump soon. I think Trump will be after this, so stand by. Thank you all for joining. Please like, follow, subscribe, share, repost on X, all that stuff. And I'll be watching the chats here as we continue forward. Thank you.
Well, you know my name. Did you know those are also my pronouns? I've been a he/she for 38 years. I can tell you, going to middle school in the 90s, that wasn't a fun name to have. And that is a joke, but it's also an illustration of the lunacy we're seeing in America right now, where we are telling our boys that they're girls and our girls that they're boys. And John Tester voted for it. He voted to put boys in girls' sports. He has been a rubber stamp for the Biden-Harris agenda every single time it matters. You'll hear numbers like 91%. You'll hear numbers like 95%. The truth is, every single time America's been on the ballot in the U.S. Senate, John Tester's voted the other way. Every single time. And in the last 3.5 years, Kamala Harris has broken more ties than any other vice president in the history of this country. And that's because of one person, John Tester. And in a state that President Trump carried twice by 20 points, John Tester couldn't find the courage to say, I'm going to vote against these terrible policies that are bad for Montanans. I'm going to vote against these policies that are bad for America. And I'm going to vote against these policies that are bad for hardworking, everyday Americans. And what they've done is they've put you in the back seat, and they've continually enriched all the D.C. special interests that pay for John Tester's campaign. He is the #1 recipient of lobbyist dollars of every single political candidate in this nation, including presidents. I served as a Navy SEAL. My wife was a Marine. We met in the military. And during the wars, we were deploying on and off. We saw each other like 45 days spread across 5 or 6 years. And that's the secret to a happy marriage, right? Just kidding. My wife's my best friend. I'm so lucky she still puts up with my crap. We love this country. We joined 18 after 9/11. When you joined after 9/11, I'm sure, who we got post 9/11 vets in here? Where are our veterans? All right, where are the rest of our veterans? The rest of our veterans, stand up. I want to see all our vets on your feet. Thank you. Thank you. And all of you did something. All of you did something that John Tester never did. You put your country first. And when my wife and I joined the military at 18 after 9/11, there was no question what was going to happen. We weren't going to get free college. We knew we were going to war. And we were going to war to protect this great country. I've been to about 93 countries around the world. There's some beautiful places. But there is nowhere I would rather raise my family, build my business, or call home than the United States of America. We are so lucky to be Americans. And if you wonder why we have a border crisis, it's because everybody wants to come here and be Americans. No one's walking across deserts to move to China. No one's drowning in the ocean to move to Russia. They are coming here to be Americans, and we should be proud of that. But I'll tell you another thing, America is at a crossroads. And when I discovered that, I've never run for anything in my life. I haven't run for student council. I haven't run for Congress or anything else. But when I watched the sacrifice of my friends, whose names I still wear on my wrist, we fought hard in Afghanistan. We answered our nation's call. And I still fly water bombers to this day. I protect our public lands. Just last week, I was out water bomber protecting your land. And I was flying water bombers in California by day, and by night I was on my phone trying to get American citizens, allies, interpreters, people that fought alongside us to fight the terrorists. Joe Biden abandoned them in Afghanistan. He left them behind. and he left billions of dollars of equipment. And in the wake of that, I got involved in politics. I said, enough is enough. I'm sick of this bullshit. We got to save this country. And a couple years later, here we are. The reason I'm running for this seat is very simple. When I understood the importance of this race, when I understood that the control of the United States Senate came down to this seat, it was clear that my new path to serve this country was in the U.S. Senate. I got out of the military and started a business in my barn right out of town here. Bridger Aerospace has been a Montana success story. We've created hundreds of jobs right here in this state. And when we created those jobs, we had a lot of veterans on staff. We were fighting wildfires, innovating new technologies and ways to protect our communities. And I'm proud of that. John Tester attacks my company every single day, and it's disgusting. You should be ashamed of that. Just like he attacks my war record. And you know why? He attacks my war record because he doesn't have one. He attacks my business because he's never started one. But let's put all that aside. Let's talk about what matters to Montanans. I can't outspend John Tester on the air. He's got way too much money. So I do grassroots campaign, all 56 counties, every VFW hall, every rodeo. We're going to every small town, shaking people's hand, looking them in the eye, and telling them why we're going to win this race and how we're going to save this country. And I've heard a lot of things across the state. To our Native brothers and sisters, what have the Democrats done for you? What have the Democrats done for the reservations and the tribes? Why do you continue to vote for them and send them back to office? I ask you to consider supporting our campaign because we will put you first. To working men and women, the open border crisis is destroying our reservations, our urban communities, and our rural communities. Fentanyl's pouring into our state and is tearing apart our families and the fabric of our country. 100,000 Americans a year, thanks to Biden and Harris, and Tester voted for it every time. For everyday working Montanans, gas prices are double, diesel prices are double. Your home's more expensive, inflation's at record highs. How is this economy taking care of you? It's not. It's been an upward transfer of wealth under the Biden-Harris-Tester regime. They've taken money from your pocket, and they're paying off college student loans with it. They're paying for illegal immigrants' hotel rooms with it. They're sending hundreds of billions overseas to other countries when they should be supporting you. They should be supporting hard-working Montanans. And I'm thrilled to have President Trump here supporting us. He's the first president in a generation not to enter us into a foreign war. He's built the strongest economy in a generation, securest border in a generation, and he showed strength on the world stage. And we're going to send him back to the White House in November. But you have a very important job to do, because if Donald Trump gets to the White House and doesn't have a Senate, he's not going to get things done. You need to deliver him a Senate by retiring John Tester. And across all 56 counties in our state, I've heard one thing from Montanans. They want common sense back. They want common sense government. And what does common sense mean to Montanans? They want a secure border, safe streets, cheap gas. Cops are good, criminals are bad, boys are boys, girls are girls. This fall, we got to save America. We got a lot of work to do. Let's get to work. Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess we still have a while before Trump, huh? And going out on Thunderstruck there. Great song. All right, y'all. We're waiting for Donald Trump to take the stage over in Montana tonight. Bozeman, Montana. He had some issues with his plane. I think it's minor. At least that is what Trump Jr. indicated online. So we'll see. Maybe do we have another speaker? We'll see. We do have footage of Trump driving through the hills. I saw that Santino posted this a moment ago. So maybe Trump's there. Maybe he's just straightening his tie out and getting ready to take the stage. But this is kind of cool footage. If you ever been to Montana, you might have been on this highway before. Let me show you this. It's pretty cool footage here. All right. And thank you all for joining again. Make sure you're following and subscribed and liking and commenting. If you're watching after the fact, you could still comment. I'll be watching and I'll reply. And I'm watching the live chats too. Thank you, Princess Beck, Dad, Eddie, everybody for joining. Shout out to Left Maryland over there too. And Keep True with the clap, clap, clap. But yeah, here is the Trump convoy going through Montana. Beautiful state. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you to Santino for posting that. I'm going to retweet it if you guys want to repost it and follow Santino over there on X. That would be fantastic. If you are on X and this is your first time watching, you can follow me at ReadyF4Any, and I'll see you over there. Again, we're waiting for Trump to take the stage. And so just stand by, y'all. I'm looking forward to this. I think, like I said, I think he's really going to lay into Kamala here and do a little trolling as he does. I think he's going to talk about the debates, and then he's going to talk about probably making America great again. He's probably going to talk about Waltz. Some people think Waltz isn't even going to stick around. People think Waltz may not be the best choice. I mean, even some of the other media agencies like ABC or MSNBC, I forget who I saw, but they were even talking about Waltz and this whole stolen valor story and accusations. And so, I mean, even the media can't defend him. So it's kind of a disaster. Plus all these accusations of fraud that we were discussing as well. COVID scams, bribing jurors with $150,000 cash in a bag, all these crazy connections to Ilhan Omar, and just not a good reputation. Fox News came out with that story tonight. A lot of wild accusations against Waltz. So just really horrible choice for Kamala. I guess it's perfect though, right? If you think about it that way, I guess it's a perfect choice for Kamala. Onward. I saw this. This was just unbelievable. Nate Silver forecast model now gives Kamala Harris a 53.8% chance of winning the presidential election. Yeah, you heard me right. Look at that. Can you believe this? Nate Silver forecast model now gives Kamala Harris a 53.8% chance of winning the presidential election. This is what they're saying with the polls now. They're saying that Kamala has a lead. It's looking good. Everything's going great. Have you seen her crowds? Oh my goodness. Have you seen her crowds? Don't talk about the concerts in tandem with the rallies. That's not cool. All right. But they're trying to really put out a perception that Kamala's doing great. She's ahead in the polls. Everyone loves her. Waltz is fantastic. They're just like a couple that's a dream. But I don't know. To me, there's a lot of other polls that say otherwise. I'll say that. But I think this is an indication of to continue to make sure you vote one way or the other. Just vote. It's very important because there's some weird stuff out there that, like Kamala, 53.8% chance of winning the presidential election. There's also the betting odds and all this stuff out there. That's kind of an interesting indicator. But remember with Hillary, when Hillary ran against Donald Trump. They said Hillary has a 99% chance of winning, or I don't know, they said crazy stuff like that. Hillary has a 70% chance of winning, and all these crazy percentages, right? And then what happened with that? She did terribly, absolutely terribly, the worst, maybe the worst ever. I don't know. But so the polls are, taken with a grain of salt, I would say. Beck says, yeah, it has to be a joke, right? Jonathan laughs. Well, this is the thing. I noticed this with the news. They'll say things like, most people are tired of Donald Trump. Most people are just so happy with Kamala Harris. Most people are this way. Most people are that way. And it makes people want to feel like, oh, well, if most people are this way or that way, then maybe I should be like most people and kind of go that way too. But they could say that. They could say anything. They could say most people like to eat dirt for breakfast. They're allowed to say that. It doesn't mean most people eat dirt for breakfast, but some silly person out there is going to go stuff their mouth full of dirt just because the TV told them to. That's how I look at it. Jim says polls don't vote. That's funny, Jim. Yeah, polls don't vote. Wow. All right, we're waiting for Trump, y'all. Stand by. We heard a couple speakers already. Good stuff. It is important. We do need the Senate. We do need everything. We need everything, right? Everything needs to go well. Trump needs to be able to do his job efficiently and be surrounded by good people. So this is all important stuff. Tonight, just so you guys know, things are really escalating in Gaza City. Al Jazeera is making reports that a lot of people have been, their lives have been ended. More than 100 people they're reporting tonight, and dozens injured in Israel airstrikes on a school housing refugees. Just horrific stuff going on over there right now. Also, we see escalations happening on the Russian border. Just so you guys know, there's sort of an offensive with Ukraine on Russia, it seems. There are some Ukrainians going onto Russian soil. It's pretty wild stuff going on over there. Of course, we've seen Iran with increased threats and tensions over the past week, which I'm happy that things haven't gotten worse than they are now, and they are bad. Jonathan, the person who did that poll had one too many shots of tequila. Yeah, something doesn't seem right, but we'll just have to wait and see for, election night. Interesting though. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I was just giving you a quick recap on World War III. The stuff's bad. I was just going to say real quick, just to finish, as we wait for Trump. I'll switch over. I have my eye on it. Don't worry. We're waiting for Trump. But Fork You Eddie said they're by a nuke plant. Wow, Eddie, I didn't realize that. That makes sense. I know that when Putin invaded Ukraine, a lot of the initial targets were nuclear targets, like what was that one location, famous location where they had a fallout issue? Whatever. A lot of the targets were nuclear. But we saw Iran saying basically that they were going to absolutely destroy Israel and all this stuff. And luckily we didn't see a massive attack like they were threatening. And we were expecting that by Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. They keep pushing it, but tensions are certainly high over there. So I'm keeping my eye on it. But I was going to switch gears and talk about something else. What was it? Oh yeah, the election. An interesting warning was put out by, and I'm trying to pull up the actual document here. CISA and FBI on July 31st, they released a public service announcement. Let me pull that up just so you guys are aware. CISA and the FBI put this out, and let me pull Trump up here so I don't miss him. CISA and FBI released joint PSA. This is from America's Cyber Defense Agency, putting potential DDoS attacks during the 2024 election cycle in context. DDoS attacks are attacks that disable systems by basically overburdening them with activity. So basically, they're warning that They said this, quote, DDoS are low-level attacks that work by overwhelming websites with traffic to render them inaccessible, said FBI Deputy Assistant Director Cynthia Kaiser. Quote, given the prevalence of false claims about DDoS attacks in prior U.S. and foreign elections, we are warning that DDoS attacks against election-related websites could temporarily disrupt access to some online election functions, like voter lookup tools, but would not prevent voting or compromise the integrity of voting systems. This warning highlights the importance for voters to seek out information about how to vote prior to Election Day and demonstrates the FBI's and CISA's continued commitment to sharing information with the public about potential cyber threats. So they're warning about election night cyber attacks. And they said it's not going to affect voting. It's just going to affect you being able to see the results in real time. So that's kind of scary. And we saw more. By the way, if you guys are just tuning in, we're waiting for Donald Trump to go live. We're just talking about some news as we build up to that. So share this out with somebody who might enjoy the show. Subscribe and like, and find me on X at ReadyF4Any. And we're going to get on with the show. But there's more to this. Okay. This is cyber attacks. It reminds me of July 19th. Do you guys remember what happened on July 19th? It wasn't that long ago. July 19th. Who knows? Does anybody know what happened on July 19th? On July 19th, I'm going to give you a moment because there is a delay. I want to see if anybody knows. What happened on July 19th, kind of along the lines of cyber attacks? It wasn't a cyber attack, they say. It wasn't. They say what happened on July 19th was a global IT outage. This global IT outage affected airports. It affected hospitals. It affected, it affected some news agencies. It affected ATMs. It affected banks. It affected companies' computers. They all had to be troubleshooted and restarted a certain way. It affected systems globally in what is attributed to be one of the largest IT issues in the world that we've ever experienced. Yeah. Terry and CrowdStrike, the update issue. CrowdStrike. Yeah. This global IT outage was attributed to CrowdStrike. And they said that they were updating and they had an issue and it affected all these systems globally. Really concerning. People were freaked out. Luckily, it happened in the middle of the night. So in the U.S., I was awake and I was talking to people on X live as this was happening. And X didn't have any problems, by the way, interestingly enough. But some people were very frightened as that was happening. It is a serious thing. And I think it's important to be aware of stuff like that. They said that the CrowdStrike update went bad. So, human error, storms, hackers, all these things can happen. Jim Maurice is sitting here, vote in person. A lot of stuff can happen to the infrastructure, whether it's in the digital world or it's the actual hardware or whatever. That's why the post that's pinned on my profile on X at the top is all about that attack, that day, July 19th. It's about that CISA and FBI released joint PSA about the DDoS attacks during the election, kind of a warning, a heads up. And also something else just came out yesterday that I saw ABC News covered. My goodness, ABC News. Out of everybody, ABC News covered this. I saw this last night and I was like, oh, geez, wow. Let me pull this up. Just give me a moment here. We're waiting for Donald Trump, y'all. Just stand by. Just staying busy as we wait for that. But I have it here. We're not going to miss it. So this is what we saw from ABC News. Let me switch over to this. So ABC News, they wrote, Microsoft said it has continued to monitor how foreign foes are using generative AI technology. The increasingly cheap and easy to access tools can generate lifelike fake images, photos and videos in seconds, prompting concern among some experts that they will be weaponized to mislead voters this election cycle. So they're warning of AI technology, AI being used to mislead voters during this election cycle. This is coming from ABC. They also said this: Iran is ramping up online activity that appears intended to influence the upcoming U.S. election, in one case targeting a presidential campaign with an email phishing attack, Microsoft said Friday. Iranian actors also have spent recent months creating fake news sites and impersonating activists, laying the groundwork to stoke division and to potentially sway American voters this fall, especially in swing states, the technology giant found. The findings in Microsoft's newest threat intelligence report show Iran, which has been active in recent U.S. campaign cycles, is evolving its tactics for another election that's likely to have global implications. The report goes a step beyond anything U.S. intelligence officials have disclosed, giving specific examples of Iranian groups and the actions they have taken so far. Iran's United Nations mission denied it had plans to interfere or launch cyber attacks in the U.S. presidential election. So these are allegations made by Microsoft. ABC News broke the story, I think. At least I saw them reporting on it. I'm not sure if they were the first ones. They may be. So Princess says they have to tell us. And I've heard that before, Princess. Remember last time it was Russia, 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 right? Russia, 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 which turned out to be a hoax, verifiably 100% proven baloney. Now it's Iran. And I mean, come on, where does Iran get their funding? Where does this, what's going on here? What exactly is happening? So I just want you guys to be aware of this. Thank you, Jim, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're waiting for Trump to go live over there in Bozeman, Montana. They're just playing some music. The crowd's doing the wave. Just huge crowd, by the way. I'm going to jump to RSBN's feed because they are showing us the crowd real quick, just so you can see these crowd sizes. Just a massive amount of support for Trump there. Nobody's shaking their rump on the stage. There's no, special rappers or country singers or guests there today. It's not a concert. This is just a rally. Everybody's there for MAGA. Everybody's there for Trump. They have it looks like on the, they have a couple of big screens for the people so they could see what's going on. Right now on the screens, they have a picture of Kamala, and it shows a quote from her. I can't read the quote, but I wish I could. I wish I could read that quote. Great. Testing. Good googly moogly. We're waiting for Trump. Testing. Sorry about that, folks. My bad. I apologize. I think I'm good on firing on all cylinders now. We're still waiting for Trump. I was just saying he's already poking the bear. There's a picture of Kamala up, and they have a quote from her on there. I can't read it for the life of me, but in my outro, you'll hear trolling. We do a little trolling, that famous Trump quote. It's called trolling. We do a little trolling. He's already taken jabs at Kamala. I bet it's not anything good that is up there. They got the funding from our oil purchases. They also got pallets of cash from Obama. Remember? What was that about? Just a lot of controversy and craziness with that. So yeah, it's just a wild time to be alive. That's for sure. All right, y'all. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back here with hopefully with Donald Trump. We're not going to miss it, though. I'm not stepping away here. So if Trump comes out, I'll switch right to it, but I'll be right back. Let's do this. So thank you, everybody. Stand by, and let me put this up. We'll be right back with President Trump live. Any moment now, but it'll be at least a moment. It'll be a minute. So I think we're okay to take a quick break before we get with Donald Trump here in Montana. So I'll be right back. All right, y'all. I'm back. My name is Vince Taglivia. We're watching Trump live in Montana. And thank you all for joining. We're talking about the news. We're waiting for Trump to take the stage. It's a beautiful day. We're getting into the weekend. It's been an eventful week. Holy moly. Absolutely. Thank you for reposting, everybody. I appreciate your support. Let me just jump to the news. I talked about the polls. They're saying the polls show they're leaning in Kamala's favor, 53.8% chance of her winning, coming from Nate Silver forecast model. Yeah, there's other models out there. There's a lot of polls out there. Trump is beginning to come out, so we're going to be cutting over there in a very quick moment here, and we're going to hear from Donald Trump. And yes, here we go. All right, let me close this stuff. Just here we go. Of course, they're playing Trump's iconic music as he comes out. I'll put the sound on in a second here once Trump begins to speak. But here he is, just stepping out from backstage. Awesome stuff. I'll toggle their sound in a moment, guys. Don't worry. It's just music and cheering. Use your imagination here. Music and cheering. Okay, that's what's happening right now. What do you guys expect from this? Do you expect anything new? Do you expect him to take some jabs? Jim, that's a good point. I like that. Polls don't vote. Definitely not. Let's see if we could get a little bit of a better quality. It should go. It should adjust here a little better, I hope. It's at the best. It seems like their camera is like just shaking. Maybe it's the music or people jumping around. I don't know. But we'll just stand by and hopefully we'll get a little bit better of a picture here. But here we go. Trump's going. He's going to thank the crowd, let the song play out, and then we're going to hear from him. I'm hoping we hear some new stuff. Oh, gosh, he cracks me up. He really does. Keep true, responding to what I was telling you guys earlier about the cyber attacks, the warnings from the FBI, the warnings from Microsoft. Keep true said it sounds like a global reset. It is concerning, isn't it? And I worry about that stuff kind of in tandem with something like, I don't know, power outages or an infrastructure problem or even like a targeted sabotage. It's very concerning. So I think preparing for those kinds of things is important.
Wow.
Let's listen to Trump, y'all.
Thank you very much.
I'll be watching the chat.
Thank you. Is that a big crowd? A nice crowd. Thank you very much, and a very, very special hello, Montana. I've been traveling all over your state. I'll tell you, I know Montana better than you know. I was all over your state today. Everything's 2 hours. When are we going to be there? 2 hours, sir, 2 hours. I got to like Tim Sheehy a lot to be here. I have to tell you. He better win. He better win. No. This is some beautiful country, though. I did do a lot of driving. I'd go to one. We went to some friends' house, a really good friend's house with your governor. You have a great governor in this state. You know that, Greg. You have a great. But we went around the state, and it was so beautiful. And I'd say, when will I be there? Approximately 2.5 hours. So, oh, great. Thank you. It's a big state. It's a beautiful state, and we love it. And we've won it every time by a lot. So I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible place, this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. You built the country. Less than 3 months from now, we are going to defeat radical left Democrat Jon Tester. He's terrible. He is terrible. He is terrible. And send Tim Sheehy to the United States Senate. We're going to evict We're going to evict crazy Kamala. Do you ever hear of Kamala? Radical left. Radical left. Well, she has a couple of things that a lot of people from Montana would like she wants to take away your guns. You like that, right? All right, how about this? She wants to defund the police. Are you okay with that? She wants to allow millions of people to pour into our border through an invasion, using an invasion process. I don't think so. I don't think that's for you. It's not for me either. It's not for most people in this country. We're going to evict crazy Kamala, and we're going to get Joe Biden out of the White House. What's he doing now? Greg, what's he doing? He wanted to debate. If we didn't have a debate, he'd still be there. Can you imagine if we didn't have a debate? Why the hell did I debate him? How did he do? Do you think he's happy with it? I don't think so. He's not too happy. They took it away from him. They really did. They took it away. The guy had 14 million votes. She had none. But I'd rather run against her. I think she's easier to beat. I really do. I believe it. And we are going to make America great again. We're going to make it so great. This election is about saving our economy, ending inflation, securing our borders, restoring respect for our nation. We're no longer respected. Preventing World War III, especially for all these young people, these young, beautiful people. We don't want to get them into World War III. And stopping a 1929-style depression, because that's what's going to happen. You saw what happened last week. With your vote, we will reverse the Kamala crash, and we will end the Kamala chaos, and we will stop the Biden-Harris invasion of people that don't belong in our country. They're invading our country. Kamala Harris, it's interesting. Nobody really knows her last name. If you ask people, do you know what her last name is? Nobody has any idea what it is. Harris. It's like Harris. I don't know. How the hell did this happen? They said, so we had the debate. He didn't exactly do well. And they actually, CNN was very nice. They said, that was one of the greatest debate performances I've ever seen, said by a very important person at CNN. Then what happens? 2 days later, they said he was lousy. They don't talk about me anymore. They just said he was lousy. And he was pretty bad, you have to admit. But we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn this country around. We're going to turn it around very fast. We're turning it around very fast. And Kamala is not up to the job. He's not up to it. Neither is Tester up to it. Tester, everyone thinks like he's my best friend. He's never voted for me once, and yet his commercials is, I like Donald Trump very much. I love his pride. I love his border stance. He votes against the border. He voted against funding of the border. He said, I love his stance on energy. He voted against our energy programs. He votes against us 100%. He's voted in favor of crooked Joe Biden 100% of the time. He did it last time with the election. We had the same problem. Do you remember? He comes out, everyone's saying, he really likes your policy a lot. He doesn't like, he's a radical left lunatic, just like Kamala, and we got to elect him. We got to get him in. Got to get him in. Since becoming a presidential candidate, she has refused to do a single interview. You know why? Because she's dumb. Or hold a single press conference. She won't hold a press conference. She won't do it. She won't do it. She doesn't want. And they're easy questions, because the press, look at them back there. Look at all of them. A lot of press. They're rigged. They're rigged. They're fake news. I looked and I get these tough questions from the press all the time, and I look at the questions that Joe got, right? Where do you think you're having dinner tonight? What will you eat? Will you have ice cream for dessert?
No, I don't know. It's unfair, the questions are so hard, he says. No, the way they treated him and with me. I won't use the questions because I don't want to give any ideas. They give me the worst questions. They are so nasty. They are the nastiest people, I think, on earth. And Kamala gives the exact same speech over and over again. Over and over. The same exact words. One of the people put it up, like they put 6 of them up, and it was like every single word is the same. I don't do that. I got to give you a little bit of variety, right? I change all these damn speeches. Where are my speechwriters? I'm going to do that. Just have one speech and just for the next 90 days go out and just read that thing. But we don't like to read teleprompters, right? It's not as much fun. It's not as exciting. And somehow it's never as good, is it, huh? No, I think we're going to write up one standard speech. You read it from beginning to end. You know what would happen? You'd start walking out. They'd say, oh, look, Trump's not holding. How about yesterday? They said, oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd. The press is talking about the crowd. In New Jersey, I had 107,000 people. The press never even talked about it. They don't talk about it. Right? They don't talk about it. Because they're fake. I went to South Carolina. We had 82,000 people. Front row Joe, look. We have many front row Joes. We have Mr. Wall over here. Look, I love that suit. Do you think he's in favor of building a wall? I think so, yes. I think so. He's great. How many of you come to? Over 200, right? And you know, he's a great guy. He's like, makes a lot of money. You've got to make a lot of money. He travels all over the country. But the front row Joes are great. We have so many people. They've been to so many of the rallies. The rallies are great. We had a tough one 4 weeks ago. Very tough one, right? We had a very tough one. Lost a great person, Corey. Great firefighter, great person. Really amazing man. Corey, you're a tough one, huh? And 2 gentlemen, real Trumpers, real Trump people. The people, they love our country. What's a Trumper? They love our country, too. Really, really badly hurt. They didn't think they were going to make it, and they did make it, and they're going to be as good as ever, and they're great. The doctors in that whole Butler area did a phenomenal job, I will tell you. They thought these 2 would not make it, and they not only made it, they're going to be, they'll be as good as new, but it'll take a little work, but they got hit hard. All Kamala does is read that teleprompter while pretending she had nothing to do with any of the disasters that they... You know, she's totally given up of all of the things. She said, I want this, I want that, I want that. Now she doesn't want any of it. And then they accuse me of being horrible when I question her. She wanted to be non-energy independent. She wants windmills all over the place, windmills. Put a windmill on top of the building. We have so much oil under our feet. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia and Russia. And we don't use it. 4 weeks ago, think of it. 4 weeks ago, the media said she was grossly incompetent. And I said, oh, this is going to be an easy race. She didn't have a chance of beating me. She couldn't do anything. They wanted to get her out. They thought she should resign with Crooked Joe Biden. What do you like better? It doesn't matter anymore, but what do you like better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Sleepy Joe, Crooked Joe. Okay, ready? They're both correct. I think Crooked Joe is more correct than Sleepy. You're like, all right, ready? Crooked first, right? What do you like better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Not bad. Crooked seems to always win. I mean, he's a crooked guy. All he had to do is think of it. If he didn't do the debate, he'd still be running. They'd be saying how great he is. He's a brilliant man, a wonderful guy, really at the top of his game. He wasn't at the top of his game 25 years ago, I'll tell you right now. And she's worse than he is. She's worse. He's smarter than she is. But the Democrats didn't have the courage to force her off. They didn't have it. They didn't want to do it. It was politically incorrect. And now the media is saying that she's wonderful. She's wonderful. The same people back there, 4 of them I recognize so perfectly. If you can't do a press conference, you cannot be president, okay? That's it. She doesn't do anything. Remember when I used to always walk up to the press under the helicopter or under the wing of the plane and talk to them? I loved it because if I didn't like their question, I could say, I can't hear the helicopters. But they do mini versions of it. Nobody ever did that before, you know. That was it. And they copy. Everybody copies me. So now she walks up. She'll take like a half a question, and she'll leave. Joe is bad. Joe couldn't hear. He couldn't do anything. It was an embarrassment to that art form. That was an art form. It was an embarrassment. Kamala, sometimes referred to as Kamala. You know, she got about 9 different ways of pronouncing the name. And because the press is so dishonest, no matter how you say it, they'll say you were wrong. You were wrong. I don't care if I get it right. Actually, I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. I actually haven't been accused that I know of calling it wrong, but if I did, they'd say that he did it on purpose. And you could do that. I've done a lot of bad name calling where you call somebody that you know how to say the name perfectly and you call it on purpose. They say, sir, you made a mistake. I said, no, I didn't. Kamala will not answer for her record of failure and weakness. A doctor, please. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Take your time. Take your time, Doc. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We love these people. They wait for 2 days sometimes, and then it's tough. It's not easy. Are they okay? Thank you very much. And doctor, take your time. Good. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you. Take your time, doctor, please. We got a lot of time, right? Nice Friday evening. Friday evening in Montana. I think my next drive is going to be about 3-4 hours from here. I wish it was a little closer, you know, that's the one thing. But that's okay. That's all right. Our governor says we have all the time we want. Greg says we have all. You got one of the best governors. I don't know if you know. Do they appreciate it or not? I don't know. And the governor's wife, I don't know. He's a great one. He's a great guy.
It appears somebody's having a medical emergency somewhere in the crowd, and Trump is acknowledging the doctor.
We better get 4 more years, or we're not going to have a country left if we don't get 4 more years. We're going to not have a country left. That's why so many people, they come and they waited for days. They wait for days, and it's tough. It's tough. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Yay. Wow. Thank you, honey. That's great. That's really good. Incredible people. So when you're commander-in-chief, you don't go to the run and hide away from the press. You know, they go and run, and they want to go on a record that's a fake record. They have a fake record, both of them. How about the new guy? How do you like him? And anytime you tell a story about anybody, by the way, Steve Daines, how good is he? True. He's one of the finest. He's one of the finest people you'll ever meet. I really mean that too. And it's an honor to be with you. And you want to do this so badly because you want to save the country. We need the Senate. We need the Senate. So thank you, Steve, for being here. Thank you. And what a beautiful family. But you don't get to flee from tough questions, and you don't get to read a teleprompter like for short periods of time where you make a speech that's like 2 minutes and everything is right off the teleprompter. What a lot of work to do for that. And you don't sit across the table from Vladimir Putin and President Xi of China. They're lovely individuals. If you can't handle our press, because they're not as tough as you think, I've been handling them for 4 years, and then another 4 years. They don't stop. They keep coming at you. They're the worst. But we're going to do something. We're going to have the biggest victory. They're going to celebrate, because I think silently they do celebrate. I think silently they do. I think silently they're for us. They're afraid to say it, right? They're afraid to say it, but I think silently a lot of those people back there in the press, and that's a lot of people, but I think they're for us. For nearly 4 years, Joe Biden's mental incompetence has given Harris a free rein to impose her ultra-liberal agenda on America and others with her and destroy our country. You're destroying our country. Joe Biden was exposed during the debate. Likewise, Kamala will be exposed during the debate. She will be exposed during the debate, or debates. But so far, she's refusing to debate. We want to have a debate. Think of it. So she wants to have no debates, but one maybe at the most. And she wants it to be on ABC, because ABC with George Stephanopoulos. Have you ever heard of it? It's the nastiest of all. Who would think it, right? You think of NBC is terrible, and they are. MSNBC is disgusting. But the worst might be ABC, and that's the only one she'll do. And you know, when Biden came out with a brilliant idea to have a debate, how did that work out for him? Not so good. But he came out, they handed me Jake Tapper, sometimes referred to as Fake Tapper, but I have to tell you, he was totally fair, and Dana Bash, and they were totally fair. They really were. CNN. So they said, we want to debate. They gave me one option, because they weren't going to debate. He didn't want to debate. They gave me one option. CNN, Dana Bash, and Jake Tapper. There will be no audience. There will be turning off your mics as soon as you finish speaking, and if you go over 1 second, they turn off, and they make you look very bad. The good part is he didn't use much of his. You know, they give you 2 minutes, and they'd say, right, you have 92 seconds left. And I kept saying, I'll take it. Can I have it? I want it. I want the 92 seconds at this. And then they'd do another one. You have 37 seconds left. That's a lot, you know, when you're up there, 37 seconds. And that's the last thing he wanted to hear, because he didn't want to talk anymore. You have 77 seconds left. He goes, oh, Joe, what am I going to do? This is who our president was, and now we have somebody that's worse, in my opinion, worse. You have to remember, they said that he couldn't beat me now. I mean, after the debate, he was down, way down in the polls. They didn't even want to show the polls. They said he's not going to win. So they said, we're going to take him out, and we're going to put somebody new in. This never happened to anybody before. We spent $100 million fighting crooked Joe Biden, and then all of a sudden they decide to take him out and put somebody else in. She never got one vote. She was the first loser in the primaries. You know, she ran against Joe Biden and everybody else. I think they had like 16 people running. She never made Iowa the first state. I love Iowa. You know why I love it? Because I win it every single time with the farmers. We win it. But she never made Iowa. She was the first one to quit. And now, and stupid, honestly, she was the nastiest to him, too. And then he picked her. I couldn't believe it. And she was part of the cabal that got him out. You know, they got him out. They said, we'll do it the nice way, or we'll do it the hard way, Joe. We'll use the 25th Amendment, and we'll call you mentally incompetent, and everybody will believe us. And, you know, what they did is a terrible thing, actually. They forced him out. It was a coup. We had a coup. That was the first coup in the history of our country. And it was very successful. He said, okay, I'll leave. If that's what you want, I'll leave. And now he's seeing what the competition is. I hear he's going to make a comeback at the Democrat convention. He's going to walk into the room and he's going to say, I want my presidency back. I want another chance to debate Trump. I want another chance. But I handed Kamala and Crooked Joe a surging economy with no inflation. We had no inflation. We had nothing. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. True. Their radical socialist lunacy turned it into a failing economy with the worst inflation in probably 70 years. You know, they say 47. I don't believe 47. I think it's much more. I handed her the strongest border in U.S. history. She turned it into the worst border invasion in the history of the world. By the way, the chart, the border chart, I love that chart. I love that chart. I'm here because of that chart. I go, let me see that chart. If I don't turn, I won't be with you tonight. I won't be with you. I love that chart. You know the amazing thing? I'm going to sleep with that chart tonight. No, you know, the amazing thing is that chart, I use it probably 20% of the time, not that much. It's always on my left, not on my right. I mean, pretty much always. There are no people. We had a tremendous crowd, but all of the people, as far as the eye could see, they were here, and some in the back. And how great were the people in the back? But all the people were the same. Nobody fled. You know, when a crowd hears a bullet, they always run. They heard lots of bullets because there were lots of bullets going off. And our Secret Service shooter, our Secret Service sniper, and he was way over here that this could happen. I mean, that was the breakdown they had. They weren't warned. But he heard bullets. He immediately looked over, took aim, and shot. One bullet. Can you imagine that? From probably 400 yards, pretty far. But if it wasn't for that sign, in this case, it came down to the right. It's never on the right, never. And it's never at the beginning of the speech. And I do, you know, I don't use the teleprompter a lot because I think it gets bad, but I just said, you know, let's take a look at the immigration numbers that we had, because they're great numbers. They're the best numbers in the history of our country. The Border Patrol did that chart. Thank you very much, Border Patrol. I appreciate it. But the Border Patrol did that chart. And you see the arrow on the bottom, the red arrow on the bottom. That's the lowest point. That was the week I left office. Look what happened after I left office. Look at that. And it's much worse now because that's a few months now. The numbers are much worse. They've let an invasion of our country happen, but I took a look. And because I took that look, I mean, what are the chances of that? So I just want to thank everybody, because I'll tell you what, the level of love and compassion and all of the things that we all went through, that was a terrible thing. And we're going to be very careful. We have to be very careful. This is, by the way, being president is a dangerous profession. You know, this is a very dangerous, this is not the safest profession out there, but it was an amazing event. And for those of you that don't believe in God, I believe that there's only one reason that could have happened, because the chances were so small. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we're going back to Butler. You know that, right? We're going back to Butler. We got to go back. We got to go back to Butler. They were great. And the hospital was incredible. The doctors were incredible that worked on our two friends that were so badly hurt. The doctors were everything about it. And we're going to go back just before the election sometime in October. It's already being worked on. And I'll probably start off by saying, as I was saying. So you stand up. As I was saying, I gave Kamala and Crooked Joe a world at peace, and their weakness and incompetence quickly brought us to the brink of a global war. America cannot survive for 4 more years of this bumbling communist lunatic. Look, we cannot let her win this election. It's not a question of me. We can't let her win this election. If she wins this election, we're not going to have a country anymore. Starting on day one, we will bring competence and common sense back to the Oval Office. You know, we're really a party of common sense, if you think. We're conservative and all that, but we're really a party of common sense. And by the way, we have a great libertarian with us tonight. Where is our libertarian friend? And I think he's going to be with us. Where is he? What a nice guy. Stand up, please. Stand up. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. A lot of us are libertarian. And I think he's going to be giving you a very nice surprise very soon. But he's a great, wonderful person, and we just met, and we knew each other a little bit from before. Thank you very much for being here. How do you like the audience? Not bad. Do you think the libertarians get this kind of an audience? I don't think so. But thank you. Great honor to know you. Thank you very much. But we'll bring back safety, security, and the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. If you want a preview of what a catastrophe, another term of Kamala will be, and she was there, she was working with him. She was the border czar. Now she doesn't say she's the border czar. She said, I was never the border czar. I mean, everything they did, she's taking away now, but she was the border czar. She was the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border like this that allows millions and millions of people in a month from mental institutions and prisons, let them come into our country. Just look at who she chose for her vice president. She went with the hand-picked candidate of crazy Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders wanted him so badly, and the Democratic Socialists of America immediately gave him the endorsement. Forget him. That's her thinking. That's where she's going to go. You know, a politician, when they came out, if Steve Daines came out and said 20 years ago when he started, I wanted to fund the police. I don't think he's saying that. I wanted to fund the police, everybody. Then he said, well, I was only kidding. I don't. The truth is, when you come out with a statement like that, that's where you are. And she wants to defund the police, and she wants to have all of your guns taken away. She wants your guns taken away. You can count on it. A politician, their first statement, Steve, is always the statement. Now, Steve said, I'm going to protect your Second Amendment. That was a long time ago. He said, I'm going to take care of our police. Right, Steve? I just don't want to leave any question in their mind, Steve. He's so happy I did that little second part. He said, oh, my God, they might think I want to defund. No, Steve is he's not a big defunder. He's an increaser for the police. We want to take care of our police. They're doing a great job, right? As Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz let rioters and looters burn down Minneapolis. Remember CNN? They're right back there. Watch. Oh, there goes their light. Their light just went off. While the governor's wife opened the windows to the mansion to enjoy the smell of the fire, she said, the smell is so beautiful. I love it. I wonder where she's coming from. Walz said that socialism is just another word for neighborliness. She wants to be. He calls them neighbors, good neighbors. He signed a bill to give illegal aliens free health care. He abolished Columbus Day. He ordered tampons to be put into boys' bathrooms. Do we have any children here? Please close your ears. He ordered tampons in boys' bathrooms, okay? He signed a law letting the state kidnap children to change their gender so that they go home. But I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about her. This is her ideology. That's why she picked him. And he signed a bill allowing pedophiles to claim human rights protections under the state law. And then he said, by the way, J.D. Vance is doing a phenomenal job, but But then he said, well, think of that. Think of the things I just said. Then he said, you know, I think J.D. Vance is weird. You know, it's a word that they use. I think he calls me that too. No, we're not. We're very solid people. We want to have strong borders. We want to have good elections. We want to have low interest rates. We want to be able to buy a house. We want great education. We want strong borders. I think we're I think we're the opposite of weird. They're weird. You know what they do? They work with the press on coming up with a soundbite, just a soundbite. And every station that night, all the networks, CBS and ABC, NBC, they all said, oh, they were called weird. It's unbelievable. You know, it's not a word that's really used too much in politics, but it's a terrible thing that they can do this. It's just a soundbite. No, J.D. Vance is a great patriot, and he's a United States Marine, and he's a real Marine, and he's a brilliant guy. And he went to Ohio State. He graduated in 2 years at the top of his class, just about at the top of his class. And he then got into Yale, and he became a Marine. He got into Yale, and he did great at Yale. And he met his wife, who was actually, I think, the #1 student at Yale. They have a smart family. And we picked somebody that was very special, and he's really stepped up. I said, you got your sea legs, you know, because the first day they were hitting him with a lot of nonsense. And he's got his sea legs now. He's going to be great. I think don't we like him? And he's for the working man and woman. Tim Walz is the man who's very freakish. He's very freakish. If Comrade Walz and Comrade Harris win this November, the people cheering will be the pink-haired Marxists, the looters, the perverts, the flag burners, Hamas supporters, drug dealers, gun grabbers, and human traffickers. But with a Trump-Vance victory, the cheers will come from the police officers, the firefighters, the Border Patrol agents, the steel workers, small business owners, parents, and hardworking citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. And that's what we're doing. We're getting record numbers in the Hispanic community, record numbers in so many different communities. Nobody's ever actually seen. You know, this is the greatest movement in the history of our country. You do know that. Remember they used to say, no, MAGA's a good solid 35% of the party. No, it's 95% of the party, not 35. They used to say that. You know, they're very cunning people. Oh, MAGA's 35, and so it's 35, really? No, it's 95% of the party, and I think it's probably 90%. I think the whole country. Think of it, who wants open borders? Who wants men playing in women's sports? And I'd like to congratulate the young woman who transitioned from a man into a boxer. You saw she won the gold medal. How about the young beautiful Italian boxer? She got in there and she didn't know what was going on, and she was a very good boxer, you know, against other women. She didn't count on this. And he's up here, boom, one little jab, whoa. She goes, nobody ever hit me that way. Then he goes, boom, and she said, okay, I had enough. It's crazy what they're doing. And this person won the gold medal. Did they win the gold medal today? What do you think of that, Tim? I don't think Tim likes it. Greg, no good, right? Now, how crazy is it? How crazy is it? For 4 more years, and she wants it. She wants men to play in women's sports. She wants to take away your guns. All of the stuff. And now she's going to deny it. Watch. She'll come out with a statement. She'll deny it. And remember one thing. I'm going to say it again later because it's so important. No tax on tips. Do we like that? And they're just the opposite. They're driving people crazy. And our senior citizens, we're not going to have them pay tax any longer on Social Security. Okay? Those two things. 4 more years of crazy Kamala Harris means probably it means 50 million illegal aliens pouring into our country over another 4 years. 50 million could be 50 million more. They're overrunning our country. They're destroying our country. They're ruining our country, and they're making our country very unsafe. These are very tough people. These are criminals coming out of jails. These are people that are tough. The only good thing about them is they make our criminals look like weak sisters. That's it. These are really tough, nasty people. And we can't have it. You know, we all have a heart, but we can't have it. It means double-digit inflation decimating your savings, and your savings are being decimated. I know what you're going through. It means violent crime ripping through the suburbs. You know, they talk about women. I think suburban women like me a lot. You know, it's fake stuff. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? You know, I put something in when I was president. There will be no low-income housing developments built in areas that are right next to your house. You have a house in the suburbs. You're so proud. And then they want to build a low-income job with a 30-story building next to your house. And your house is worthless. And I stopped it. And then they say, well, I don't think suburban women like them. I think they like me. I'm going to keep criminals out of your neighborhood. That's really all that matters. I think they like me anyway. You're not going to have migrant criminals preying on our women and our girls while guns are confiscated from the law-abiding citizens. They want to take away your guns, and then they want to have our country overrun with some of the worst criminals there are anywhere in the world. And they come from all over the world. They come from Africa. They come from Asia. They come from the Middle East. They come from all over. A large boatload came recently from the Congo. Where do you come from? Where in the Congo? Prison. What did you do wrong? We do not want to say. Murder. It was murder. And they're dumping them into our country. You know the money they're saving, these other countries? Their prison population is way down. The money they're saving is, they've never had it so good. And if I were running any of those countries, if I were running Colombia, if I were running Brazil, I'd be doing the same thing, but I'd be doing it faster than they're doing it. Why wouldn't you do it? It's common sense. Dump all of your criminals. You know, in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. You know why? Because he took all of the criminals out of Caracas and out of all the cities. He took all of them out and dumped them into the United States. He emptied his prisons into the United States of America. Why are we taking this? Why do we take this? Why? So don't take my word for it. Listen. Kamala Harris's agenda straight from her own mouth. Would anybody like to see her? Let's do it for a couple of seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that.
But would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
You know, the food pyramid. What people
Yes. Yes.
to reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
And that's just a small part of it. That's just a small part. That's what we have, though. That's where they're going. We're going. Remember I said we will not become a socialist country? And I meant it, except I was wrong. We didn't become a socialist. We're going beyond socialism. We're becoming, if they get in, a communist, full-blown communist country. This is America. We're not a communist country. We're not going to let that happen. And Kamala is not just, she's not just dangerously extreme, and she is extreme, much more so than Biden. Because Biden didn't know he was alive, let's face it, okay? Are you a socialist? What does that mean? What does it mean? Are you a communist, Joe? I don't know. So he was sort of dangerous because the people around the Resolute desk ran the country. Don't forget, he went after me. He weaponized government to go after me. I don't believe it was him. I believe it was the People's Circle. I could name every one of them. They're bad people. And we won our big case in Florida. Great, brilliant judge that was so smart and strong. And she didn't listen to the nonsense. And, you know, they play the ref with judges. They criticize them all the time, scream at them, treat them horribly. Justices, the justices of the Supreme Court, all judges. And they think they're playing the ref like the great Bobby Knight, right? Play the ref now. They're not putting up with it anymore. What they are doing is, in my opinion, totally illegal. Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ. But we'll find out about her IQ during the debate, okay? Let's find out about her IQ. So, you know, we have this great system. I want to show you just one other thing, please. Do you mind putting it up, please? Thank you.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? The Caribbean nations, island nations, in the Western Hemisphere. That is where the Caribbean is. We are also in the Western Hemisphere. They are our neighbors. I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know? Space is exciting. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree that there are things and tools that are available to us to slow this thing down. We will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when you had, if you're just, like, if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend. Yes. And then, you know, the little thing catches it, and then, you know, so we got to kind of perfect that one a little bit more. Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that women were not, the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022? So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. As a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a Turn that off.
So if you listen to Kamala's speeches, you'd never even know that she's been running the country. She's been running the country for 4 years and doing a horrible job. Look at what's happened to our country. We are a failing nation. I hate to say it, we are a failing nation. I wish I didn't have to do this. I wish I didn't have to go and do this. I wish they were great. I wish they'd make our country great, but they're going to destroy our country. You know it, they even know it, and probably they're doing it on purpose. It's hard to believe, but they're probably doing it on purpose. Kamala is working full-time to erase her record of open borders, transgender anything, high energy costs, taxes, interest rates, which are at sky levels, rising crime rates, and wars all over the world. We're in wars all over the world. You know, when I left, we had nothing. We had no wars. The world respected your country. We had no wars. Viktor Orban, who's the prime minister, the boss of Hungary, and knows everything very well. They asked him, what's wrong? The world is breaking out in wars all over. He said, there's one thing wrong. The United States needs Donald Trump back as president, and if you have that, you're not going to, which is true. You won't have any of these problems. You won't have any of these problems. Russia would have never, ever attacked Ukraine. Israel would never have been attacked on October 7th, and you wouldn't have inflation, and you wouldn't have had the horrible Afghanistan embarrassment, the most embarrassing day, I think, in the history of our country. On Election Day, we're going to tell this radical left country buster, she's a country buster, that we've had enough. We can't take it anymore. We're going to say, Kamala Harris, you're fired. You've done a horrible job. You're fired. Get out of here. Get out. Get the hell out of here, Kamala. All right? If Kamala wins, foreign leaders will treat America's president as a joke. They already do. Now we have two jokes. Think of it. What's going to happen? Russia gets a little nasty. China, President Xi, I know him very well, got along with him very well until COVID, in which case I said, that's the end of that. But President Xi, these are fierce people. These are fierce people. They don't even know who the head of our country is. Who do we have? Are we dealing with Biden? Biden probably should get out, but Xi should get out also. I think they should both get out. I'll tell you what, do we have a volunteer? Yes, I will volunteer, okay? We have to straighten out. We have to straighten out our country. They're not going to do it. They will rip us off more than ever before. These foreign countries are ripping us off at levels that you've never seen before, and we had them held back. Russia respected us. China respected us. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in not 10 cents. For years, they ripped us off. And our country will never be given a chance for a future. We're never going to have a future back. If we don't solve this problem now, we can't go like this any longer. We're not going to have a country any longer. When I win, we're going to win. When I win, America will be respected again, because you will once again have a president who puts America first. And you have a president who will fight, fight, fight. Thank you. Thank you. For 4 incredible years under our administration, I stood up for America, and we achieved more than any administration in the history of our country. There's never been a period of time like we had for 4 years. There's never been. And then we had COVID, and we got rid of it. We never got, I got great credit for the economy, great credit for the military. We defeated ISIS rapidly. I started no wars. First time in 78 years I started we didn't have any wars, these endless wars. They keep going and going, people getting killed all over the place, spending billions and billions. We passed the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts in the history of our country. We achieved record low unemployment rates, record low poverty rates, and rising wages for everybody. Everybody in this room. Your wages increased, your money increased, your businesses increased. Whatever you do, everything was better for 4 years. We unlocked American energy independence, and soon would have been energy dominant. We were going to be energy dominant. We took on the globalists and corrupt special interests. We ended the NAFTA disaster, concealed. And think of that. We got out of TPP. Do you know what TPP? That's, if you want to have manufacturing in this country, they were going to take it all away. Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, we took it away. We withdrew from the horrible Paris Climate Accord. It sounds so nice. I want the Montana Climate Accord, not the Paris Climate Accord. And stood up to China like never before, bringing in tens of billions of dollars. Think of it, though. No other president ever brought up, they never confronted China. and China respected us. We built 571 miles of border wall, and we took it out. You know, we took it out of our military because Congress was impossible. So I said, we're taking it out of our military because it's an invasion of our country. That worked. They sued me all over the place. We won. We ended catch and release. We stopped asylum fraud. We brought illegal immigration to the lowest level ever recorded. That's per your chart. We fully rebuilt the U.S. military and created a thing called Space Force, which is so important. And now we are leading in space. Nobody thought that was possible. And for our great veterans, of which you have a lot in your great state, we passed VA accountability and VA choice, right? They've been trying to get them for 50 years. Accountability is you get rid of the sadists and the bad people that took advantage and harmed our heroes, our great people. They beat them up. They were sadists. They were thieves. There were a lot of bad things. We had no right under civil service and other things to fire them. If we caught them stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars, you couldn't do anything about it. I got a law passed in Congress. We got rid of 9,000 bad people and hired people that love our veterans. And then on choice, so we have some great doctors in the VA, but you couldn't get to them. It would take sometimes months. People would be a little bit ill, and they'd end up becoming terminally ill because you couldn't get to the doctors. If you had to wait more than one day for a doctor, I allowed you to go out, get a local doctor, get yourself taken care of, and we pay for the bill. And Steve Daines helped a lot on that. Actually, Steve, that was a great thing. And we had a 92% approval rating at the VA, the Veterans Administration, 92%. That was the highest rating ever. Now it's down into the 40s, down into the 40s. We obliterated ISIS, and unlike Harris, we stood up and we took care of our friend Israel. We have a problem over there, big problem. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of people that are looking to destroy Israel. Look, the bottom line, we got to get peace over in the Middle East. The Middle East is blowing up and largely because our country doesn't know what's happening. They have no idea what's happening. We are going to take care of it. We did the Abraham Accords. It brought peace to the Middle East. We would have had every country signed up right now. President-elect as much as I can, because Hillary Clinton stood on the stage. They said, look at him. He's going to start wars. And I said, no, 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 no. I'm going to stop the wars. You're the one that started the wars. You people, the stupid people, started the war. But I did finish the war on ISIS. And everybody said we couldn't beat ISIS, too malleable, too all over the place. Did it in 4 weeks. We knocked it out, and that's where I learned we have a great military. We don't have a woke military. We have some stupid people on the top that are woke. We have a great military. What they did for me against ISIS was incredible. 4 years ago, America's future was blazing bright, and Kamala and Crooked Joe came in and drove our country off the cliff. They've taken our country to levels. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing at America. They're laughing at your United States. But with your vote, the reign will be over. That horrible reign of, in a way, it's a reign of terror. You know, it's a weak reign. It's an incompetent reign. But they want to put good people in jail that shouldn't be in jail. It's a very dangerous reign, actually, and people aren't going to take it. It's a very dangerous reign led by very incompetent people. New era of strength and prosperity and freedom will soon ring true. The moment I take the oath of office, we will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send the illegal aliens back home where they belong. Right? Under the so-called border czar Harris, illegal aliens are stampeding into America by the millions and millions. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from all over the place. They're coming from countries we've never even heard of. Most of the people in this room have never heard. They're coming from some very bad places, evil places. Every day, Kamala is letting migrant criminals roam free to assault, rape, mutilate, and kill our citizens. Look at what's happening to our cities. Our cities are being overrun, and they're being taken care of, and our veterans are not being taken. Our veterans are forced to sleep on the street, and these people are given hotel rooms in luxury hotels. Right here in Bozeman, an illegal alien brutally stabbed to death a 19-year-old young man. You know all about it. And when the police searched the illegal's car, they found 3 handguns, 2 rifles, a shotgun, and a record as long as your arm. On July 4th, a 42-year-old Nashville man died after he tried to stop an illegal alien from stealing tools out of his truck. The illegal alien did a number on this man that nobody could even believe. The police officer said one of the most vicious crimes they've ever seen. He was thrown from the hood of the illegal's pickup truck and left to die in the street after being beat to hell. And last month, a Venezuelan illegal alien criminal let in by our so-called border czar. The border czar's a joke. She never went to the border. She never went to the border. Shot a female police officer in Texas multiple times with a rifle and started shooting over and over again. The choice in this election is between a mass amnesty with welfare, Social Security, and voting rights for the illegal. And they want to give illegal immigrants all of this. And here's all we're going to do. It's going to be called a Trump mass deportation because we have no choice. We have no choice. We have no choice. If Harris wins, a never-ending stream of illegal alien rapists, MS-13 animals, and child predators will ravage your communities. They're already ravaging your community. Don't forget, they haven't been here that long. They're getting used to it. When they get used to it, they're going to be coming at you at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's going to be as vicious as any crime ever seen in this country before, and it's a guarantee. In addition, we have hundreds and hundreds of terrorists in our country that have been allowed in. We didn't allow them in. We had a strong border. We had 1 year where Border Patrol actually said under Trump in 2019, 1 year, one of our 4 years, 0 terrorists. Now, I don't really believe that because I don't believe that's possible. But they have it down as a 0. 0 terrorists were able to get into our country. Now we have hundreds and hundreds of people coming in, thousands of people coming in, and these are the world's worst terrorists. And it's 100% certain that really bad things are going to happen. So we don't have a choice. Vote Republican, and we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history. And I don't say that with fondness. I don't even know. You know, I don't say that with, I don't even know if that's good politics or bad politics. People would say, oh, Trump is too tough. We don't like him. We don't like him. He's taking murderers out of our country, but we don't like him. He shouldn't be taking murderers out of our country. The truth is, you know, Dwight Eisenhower, he was a sort of a moderate type of guy, General Eisenhower. He was president. Do you know when he was president, he was the strongest president in history outside of what we did, the strongest in history on the border. He hated when people came into our country illegally. And we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in through a process. They have to come in legally. We want people. Harris has let them all in, and we will send them all back. We have to send them back to their countries. You know, their country, when I came in, we had a lot of MS-13 gang members. They're probably the toughest gang in the world, really ruthless people. And I came in, I said, we got to get them out. I told one of the generals, sir, they won't let us have them in. Under President Obama, the countries where they came from, Honduras and Guatemala and all over the place they come, from South America in this case, the countries said, we're not letting them back in. And they would put major aircraft, big aircraft, on the runway. So if we were coming in with a plane, you couldn't land, they'd come back. They blocked up the road, so if we bust them in, if we took them in by ship, any way we took them in, they wouldn't let them back. So the general told me that, sir, I'm sorry, we can't get them back. They'll never take them back. They don't want them back. MS-13 gang members, who can blame them, right? So I said, how much money do we pay them? He goes, sir, we pay them $750 million a year. Sir? I said, all right, inform the countries that they're delinquent. They're not taking their criminals back. They're sending criminals in. You know, they send them in the caravans. They put some really bad types in the caravans, and they pour in by the thousands, that we're not paying them anymore. We're ending it on day one. I signed a document. The next day, I come into the beautiful Oval Office, so beautiful, resolute desk. I sit down. Sir, we have a call from Guatemala. Sir, we have a call from Mexico. We have a call from, we have all these calls, and they call and they wanted to know, sir, we understand there's a misunderstanding. I said, no, why? There's no misunderstanding. You're sending your criminals into our country and you're not taking them back. And I'm not paying you anymore. You're not getting any more subsidy from the United States of America. And they all said the same thing. The calls came in early in the morning. They all said the same thing. Sir, there must be a misunderstanding. There's a misunderstanding, sir. We would love to have MS-13 back in our country. We love them very much, sir. They're wonderful people. And we took tens of thousands. We took thousands and thousands out. You know, believe it or not, there were a lot on Long Island. You read the story where they killed two beautiful 16-year-old girls walking to school, and they killed them with a knife. They sliced them up into little pieces. You know why? Because that's much more painful than getting shot. And they wanted to, what they did, they were animals. And you know who took care of it? ICE. And all of these people like Kamala, they want to abandon ICE. They want to drop ICE. These guys are so incredible. They're brave. You know, I know some of the people in the front row, and they're really tough guys, and they're brave guys, and I know them pretty well. They don't want to work for ICE. ICE would get in, they'd get up to the gangs in Ohio, and a lot of them in New York, and amazing, as I said, in Long Island, and they'd walk into a gang of 15 of the toughest guys you've ever seen, and you'd see fists and feet and back and forth, and it would go on for 3-4 minutes, and then the ICE guys would get up and they'd take these guys into a paddy wagon, put them in, and would bring them back to their country. And then she wants to get rid of ICE. These are incredible patriots. They're tough people, and they love our country as much as anybody, and maybe more than most. One of the most sinister accomplices in Kamala's plot to demolish American borders has been her ally and partner in the U.S. Senate, one of the biggest phonies in American politics. His name is John Tester. And I don't speak badly about somebody's physical disability, but he's got the biggest stomach I have ever seen, I swear. I swear. That's the biggest stomach. I have never seen a stomach like that. Because he doesn't look that heavy. You're not allowed to use the word fat. So if you use the word fat, you can say obese, you can say anything, but you can't say fat. That's the end of your political career. I said it the other night. Somebody in the audience said, Chris Christie is a fat pig. And I said, sir, Chris Christie is not a fat pig. You should not. And we argued about it for 3 or 4 minutes, and that was it. No, he's not a fat pig. For years, Tester has been telling Montana that he's a moderate while he votes with Biden, Harris, and Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. You remember Pocahontas? Pocahontas, I have more Indian blood in me than she has in her, and I have none. I happen to have none. But Kamala votes with them 100% of the time. Did you know that, Steve? 100% of the time. I promise you, Tim will not be voting 100%. He may vote with them 0. I would say 0 would be close. But in a 50-50 Senate, Tester could have single-handedly stopped the invasion of our country, but he voted against stopping it. Instead, Tester voted for mass amnesty. He voted against the border wall, totally voted against the wall. Who the hell would vote against the wall? He voted against remain in Mexico. Remember, I had the policy, the greatest policy of all. You couldn't come into our country, you had to remain. They had hundreds of thousands of people that came up from the South. Hundreds of thousands, they couldn't get into our country. He ended it. And these people came in. You think it was easy to get that deal with Mexico? It was very tough. I had to say, I'm going to put a lot of tariffs on it. They give it to me or not. They were very nice. It was amazing. They wouldn't give it to me. They said, no, sir, we won't do that. I said, all right, I'm going to tariff your cars at 100%. Sir, we'd love to give you that. We would love a policy of remain in Mexico. We think it's wonderful. You had to see Tijuana. Tijuana was the fastest growing city in the history of the world. They were having hundreds of thousands of people pour into Tijuana, but they couldn't come into our country because I said to Mexico, you can stop them. You can stop them at your southern border, down below. And you know those caravans, I think I came up with that name, but they are a caravan. They're very horrible, very dangerous for women, very dangerous. Women die all the time. They're being raped, they're dying. The whole thing is a horror show. He voted against Title 42. That's a bad one. He voted against increasing funding for ICE. He voted to provide the deciding vote to shield illegal alien criminals like the one who murdered Laken Riley from deportation. He didn't want the person deported. He didn't want any deportation for that person. If you elect John Tester, you are approving the Harris plan to make the 20 million Biden illegals into voting citizens. She said today she wants to give them the right to vote. Many of these people are killers and criminals. They're not going to have the right to vote, and they're not going to destroy our country. She also voted to give them welfare, government health care, and let them raid Medicare and Social Security until there's nothing left. They will destroy Social Security. I will save your Social Security with no increase in age or anything else. John Tester cast the decisive vote to approve every single bill that caused record inflation. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act? It was a phony. They used the term Inflation Reduction. It was actually an Inflation Increase Act. It was a disaster, but they lied because that's what they're good at. They're con people. You know what they are? Misinformation, disinformation. After they got the bill passed, which they shouldn't have had, trillions of dollars, inflation went through the roof. He cast a vote to kill the Keystone XL pipeline. Do you remember that? The Keystone X. What the hell are these reporters doing over here? Oh, Pulitzer Prize winner. Doug Mills, the great Doug Mills, Pulitzer Prize. Even though he works for the New York Times, that's okay. He works for the New York Times, and that's one of the only Pulitzer Prizes that was actually earned. How about they got this woman, Maggot Hagerman. Did you ever hear of it? Maggot Hagerman. She's a reporter. She pretends like she knows more about Trump. I have nothing to do. If the woman speaks to me once in a year, today I called her, I said, your stories are all fake. Why don't you stop it? But think of it. They have a man here who I really like. He's a great photographer. Doug, it's nice to have you. Make me look nice and thin if you don't mind. He voted for environmental extremist Tracy Stone Manning to lead the Bureau of Land Management, and he voted the radical left Interior Secretary, Deb Haaland, you know who that is, don't you? To wage war on your rights and on your industries, and they really did wage war. But we have a man here, and I'm going to introduce some of your people. We have a man here who knows Tester better than I do, better than anybody does. And Tester and I have nothing to do with each other. And when you watch his commercials, you can forget it. He never votes for me. He voted to impeach me. That guy voted to impeach me, stomach brimming out like a big slob. Do you want to? I want to impeach. Why? I don't know. What did he do wrong? I did nothing wrong. But I have to tell you, the Republicans stuck with me, and we won very easily. We beat it. But there's a man named Ronnie Jackson. He comes from Texas, and he heard it was a race against Tester, and he was treated so unfairly. Could I ask Congressman, Admiral, Doctor? He's a doctor. He was my White House doctor. He was Obama's White House doctor and Bush's White House doctor. He was also an admiral. So he was an admiral and a doctor. Then he became the doctor in the White House. And you know when I fell in love with him? They said, who's the healthiest? He took care of Bush, Obama. Did anybody ever hear of Barack Hussein Obama? Yes. Took care of Obama, and he took care of Trump. And they said, who's the healthiest of those presidents? And he said, without question, it's Donald J. Trump. And I said, I love this guy. Ronnie Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Howdy, Montana, from the great state of Texas. All right. Look, I want to tell you a little bit about this man, John Tester, this man who says that he represents Montana in the Senate, this man who tells you that he's up there trying to clean the place up and trying to fix what's broken. This man is a sleazy, disgusting, swamp politician. He's a fraud and he's a liar. I was in the Navy for 25 years. For 25 years, I was on active duty serving my country. I was an emergency medicine physician. Right? I went to Iraq with the United States Marine Corps to a surgical shock trauma platoon on the battlefield between Fallujah and Ramadi. I spent the last 14 years of my career in the Navy on active duty at the White House, serving 3 presidential administrations and taking care of 3 presidents, including the best president this country's ever had, Donald J. Trump. A spotless, flawless career in the Navy. I had never had a single complaint about anything. I was a Navy Rear Admiral. And at the end of my time in the military, while I was still on active duty, President Trump had the trust and confidence in me to nominate me as the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, which I was happy to. However, let me tell you, John Tester, at that time, was the ranking member on the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. He was going to oversee that process. He was also up for re-election. It was 2018. He decided that it was in his political best interest and would help his election if he could come out and be the guy that tore down one of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. He came after me. He tried to destroy me. He tried to destroy my family. He got together with some disgruntled employees that worked for me at the White House who were upset because they didn't get promoted or get something they wanted during their time at the White House. One of them, in fact, is currently Joe Biden's doctor. They got together with him and his staff, and they made up completely absurd accusations and lies about me to tear down my nomination. They said that he labeled me on TV as the Candy Man, right? He said that I was recklessly prescribing narcotics. I can tell you, I can count right here on this hand right here how many times I prescribed narcotics at the White House in 14 years. He put that out there. He said that I got drunk and wrecked a government vehicle. Any 2-bit investigator can figure out whether or not that happened. He knew it didn't happen. He knew it, and it's been proven that it didn't happen since then. He did not care. He was going to destroy me to better his career, and he passed that information to these morons in the back, right? The mainstream media, who were all too willing to carry this water. And let me tell you, they don't work for you. They work for swamp creatures like John Tester. That's who they work for. Anyways, look, this man tried to destroy me. He tried to destroy my family. I've been waiting for 6 years to get back here for this night, to be with this man right here, to come after him. The end of John Tester starts tonight. And it starts by bringing this man back to the White House so that he can continue the work that he did draining the swamp when he was the president before. He's the best president we've ever had, and he's the only one that can do the job now. So get him back into office. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring Tim Sheehy to the Senate to replace this swamp hippopotamus, John Tester. So I want to thank you all for coming out and for showing your support and your willingness to help us take this country back. We've got 87 days left. Let's get it done.
Great job. Other than that, he likes him very much. But I was a part, look, I maybe blame myself. I said to her, he was a great admiral, highly respected in the Navy. He was a great White House doctor. So you have two, you have leadership and you have the doctor. So I figured, what's better for the VA? So I went to Ronnie and I said, Ronnie, what do you think of the possibility of you running the VA? You're a great leader, you're a great admiral, highly respected in the Navy, a war veteran, everything. He had everything you could have. And on top of that, he's a great doctor, a great man, a great personality. Everyone loves him. And, you know, I went to him, I said, what do you think? And he didn't want it. He said, sir, I'd rather not, but he's an incredible patriot. He said, but if you want me to do it, because he was ready to retire and go on to move to Texas and do whatever he was going to do. He said, if you want me to do it, sir, I'll do it. He didn't want to do it. Everybody else would want it, but he really would have preferred not. I said, Ronnie, you know, I did him such a great favor. Ronnie, you'll be great. So I let it out that I'd like to put Ron. I didn't even put it out officially. I let it out to the fake news. I said, I'd like to put Ronnie in as the head of the Veterans Administration. And that's when Tester hit. And it was vicious. It was vicious. It was really. And I didn't even say it. You know, I mean, after it happened, I said, Ronnie, it's really unfair. And, you know, they sent out people, and we did too, to investigate every charge this slob made, and every charge was totally false. And he has an incredible family, an incredible wife. He has a son. I was making the commencement address at Annapolis. His son was one of the best students at Annapolis, right at the top of the class. And I had to look at the son, and I had to say, what they're doing to your father is really unfair. This is one of the finest men you'll ever see. And that John Tester couldn't have cared less. He just wanted publicity for himself, and it's a disgrace. You have to defeat John Tester. I'm telling you, you have to defeat. You have to do it. And when Ronnie heard what I was doing, he said, oh, you're going to Montana. Does that have anything to do with Tester? I said, actually, it does. We're trying. He said, may I go? He was in Texas. So he had to travel longer than I did. But Ronnie Jackson's one of the finest men, and it was a shame, and really a shame. And you ought to get rid of that guy's bad news. Montana, you've got to do it, and you're going to do it. And I want to bring up, if I could, you heard him just for a second, because I want to shake his hand. He's a spectacular person. He was picked by Steve Daines and a group of people. We were looking for perfection because we didn't want any excuses. The fact that he's handsome should have nothing to do with it, but he is a handsome guy. But he's got everything. He's highly successful, great education, Purple Heart recipient, a former Navy SEAL, which, as you know, is a big deal. It's a tough thing to be. A combat veteran at the highest level, a Bronze Star. And he's got his valor. It's a Valor for Heroism Award. You know, the other one talks about valor. He has a different kind of a valor. It's the opposite. But Tim Sheehy is going to be an outstanding senator. He was a great businessman, an aerospace company. He started it in a barn in Montana, right here. Employed a lot of people, turned it into a big success. And I'd like to ask, just to say a few words real quickly, Tim Sheehy, you've got to vote for him. Thank you. Tim, come on. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to have you here. You know, listen, I always supported the Trump policies. I never knew the man, but I supported the policies, no question. But I became a true follower of his about 4 years ago. For those of us who fought in the Middle East, we knew who we were really fighting the whole time. It was Iran. They were murdering us. They've been murdering Americans for 45 years. They were blowing us up with EFPs. They were sending their hit teams across the border and killing us so we could never cross back over and get them. We could never touch them. It was a one-way fight. And in the Obama years, those of you who were there, you know, our hands were tied. I had to watch these guys get killed and sent home in boxes, and we couldn't do anything about it. And that was so frustrating. It made me sick. And a few years ago, when we were fighting ISIS, Trump told the Iranians, don't touch any Americans. We're here to fight ISIS. You touch one hair on any American's head, we're going to kill you. And they didn't believe him. And they didn't believe him. And then they launched some rockets at some Americans up at Balad. And we lost a couple. And Trump didn't hesitate. The next day, he dropped a bomb on that son of a bitch, Qasem Soleimani, and blew him to pieces. He blew him to pieces. And I told the president in person the first time we met, I said, listen, you may endorse me or not, you may support me or not, but I'll tell you one thing, you will always have my loyalty because you're the guy that dropped a bomb on that son of a bitch Soleimani, and you'll always have your back for that. But listen, Biden, Harris, Waltz, whatever you want to call them, they are selling you out every single day. They are selling out hardworking Americans. They are taking your money out of your pocket and giving it to illegal immigrants. They're taking money out of your pocket and sending billions of dollars of it overseas to other countries while you're going broke. Our gas prices have doubled and tripled. Inflation's through the roof. Your life is worse off because the policies of this administration that John Tester has voted for every single time are killing America. So this fall, we got to send Donald Trump back to the White House and John Tester back to Big Sandy.
Great job. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much, Tim. And I have to say, Tim stands for very strong borders, all the things that we want. He wants strong borders, a very strong military, low taxes, low inflation. But more importantly than anything else, he wants to make America great again. He's going to do it. We're going to do it together. Also with us tonight, and I said it before, he's a special man, Senator Steve Daines. You're lucky to have him. He's an unbelievable, respected by everybody. And it's an honor to have him as a friend. And he wanted to do this race. He said, we have to do this race. We have to take control of the Senate and the House. We're going to do the House. We're going to do the Senate. And this is the answer right here. This is the one seat. We do this seat, we're going to win the Senate. So important. And Tim, you're going to be great. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Steve, you're a fantastic man. Kids, you have a great father. Take good care of your father, okay? I mean that. And I alluded to it before. He's a fantastic guy, a friend of mine. I was one of the earliest to endorse him. Greg Gianforte, your governor. He's been respected by everybody. Greg, please. Please, thank you. A representative who has been absolutely a fantastic guy. He's a tough cookie. He's a great Good luck, Ryan. You're going to do great. Thank you. I saw some good poll numbers on you today. That's very nice. And Ronnie Jackson, thank you for that speech you made. That was beautiful. And nobody could have done it nobody could do it like you. He knows this guy better than anybody, unfortunately. It was my fault, Ronnie. I shouldn't have done it. I should have said, Ronnie, enjoy your life. I had to say, come on, Ronnie. And I tell these horrible people back there, it's going to be Ronnie, oh boy. But you know what he did? He came back and he said, I'm going to run for Congress. And he ran and he won. And he won big, big. All right? That's pretty good. Think of it. You're a great doctor, become the White House doctor. You're a great admiral, you're doing great. Then you decide, I'm going to run for Congress. So you have Congress, you have doctor, you have admiral. Who the hell has a career like that? That's pretty good. That beats all of us. Tim, that beats all of us, I think. Former acting attorney general and a friend of mine, Matt Whitaker. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. Great job. Your auditor. Oh, that's good because you have a lot of money here. Troy Downing. Thank you very much. Troy, great job. Secretary of State Christy Jacobson. Christy, thank you. Good job. You have my endorsement. She's got my endorsement. They both do. I'm giving you my endorsement now. This way I don't have to go home and write it out. Is that okay? She has my endorsement, complete and total endorsement. Your great Attorney General, Austin Knudsen. Thank you, Austin. Great, beautiful family. Great family. State Party Chair, Don Kalschmidt. Where's Don? Don, thank you very much. Good job you're doing. They're all doing well, right? They're doing well, Don. You're doing a great job. RNC Chairman Michael Whatley, very powerful man. Michael, thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Well, he's got one function. We don't need the votes. He's going to stop the steal. He's going to stop the steal. He's going to make sure that those votes are properly counted. You ever hear things like this? You vote two months early and you need more time. We want to go back to one-day voting and paper ballots. Very simple. Very simple. But he did a great job. He was the head of the Republican Party in North Carolina when those other states were being robbed and rigged. That guy held so true, and he's going to do it with. He actually had 603 lawyers working, and other guys just said, "Oh, you can never take it for granted with these people, because they do something very, very well. You know what that is? They cheat. That's what they is." And in the audience is a man that I gave a pardon to, and I'm very proud. Would you stand up, please? Stand up. With you with a beautiful hat on, right there. Yeah, stand up. I was very honored. Handsome guy, too. And people were very happy with that. You were happier than anybody, but it was my honor to do it. Thank you very much. And one of our greatest golfers in the history of, I'm a golfer, I love golf. This guy is a major golfer. He's a major friend of mine, one of the best ever. They knighted him in England or in UK, and he just knew how to win. He could take people and he'd play the best players in the world, and they always folded in front of him. In fact, I think I'm going to bring him into government because we like to get other people to fold. And his nickname is Foldo, but he's really, because he makes everyone, but his name is Faldo. Nick Faldo and his beautiful wife, Lindsay. Where is Nick? Where is Nick? That guy can play golf. He's won 6 majors and many, many tournaments, and he's one of the greatest ever. So thank you very much. It's an honor as a golfer. I don't know how many. Did anybody play golf? Did anybody ever hear of Nick Faldo? Yeah, they heard. Thank you very much, Nick. It's an honor. You are a piece of work, I'll tell you. He's a tough cookie, too. You talk about a tough cookie, that's a tough cookie. From the moment we take back the White House from Kamala and Crooked Joe, I believe we're going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Starting on day 1, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. To bring down the prices of all goods, we will stop the Biden-Harris war in American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring them way down. That's what caused the inflation. Their stupid energy policies caused the inflation. I will terminate the Green New Scam, deliver historic regulation cuts, and I will end the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate on day 1. You want to have a gasoline-propelled car, or if you want a hybrid, or if you want an electric car, it's great. But you can have your choice. Whatever you want, you're going to have your choice. That's the way it should be. We will pass massive tax cuts for workers, and that includes no tax on tips, as I said. We're going to stop outsourcing, demand a level playing field for the American worker, and turn the United States into the manufacturing superpower of the world. We had it going so beautifully, and then these stupid people came along and ended it. We're going to be the manufacturing superpower of the world, and we can do it so easy. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope and safety and beauty, better than they have ever been before, and we will end the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels. We are going to demolish those cartels. We're going to crush gang violence, support our police, and lock up violent offenders behind bars. And we are going to straighten out the crime in our cities. We are going to straighten out the crime in our country. We're going to get it done fast. We will deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. You see what's happening. And before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I will restore peace through strength. That's what I did. We had no wars. Think of it. No wars. No wars during the Trump administration, Steve. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country, a dome like has never been seen before, and it will be entirely made in the USA, including Montana. And unlike Biden, who's destroying Social Security and so many other things, I will not cut 1 cent from Social Security. I will not raise the age, which they want to do. They're destroying Social Security and Medicare by allowing all of these people to come in on the plan. You earned it. You deserve it. We're going to preserve it for you just the way it is. Thank you. And as you know, I kept my promise for 4 years, and I will keep my promise very easily again. And seniors, as I said, will not pay taxes on their Social Security. That's a big deal. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. We're not going to do it. I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. Right? Right? And I will keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay. See, Nick, at least in golf, you know, they got a putt, right? Maybe in golf they have a little chance, but not much. No, I don't see it. I know you too well. I don't see them playing against you. But the women golfers are doing very well. But what do you think, Nick? You keep men out of women's sports? You think that's okay? I think so, huh? I think so. I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech in our country. And I will secure our elections. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and a thing called voter ID. They don't want voter ID. Why don't they want voter ID? You know, we start off with voter ID, and they say we don't want. You know why? Because they want to cheat. There's only one reason you don't want identification. You want to cheat. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020. We will not let them rig the presidential election in 2024. Not going to let them rig it. And we want to do this as a landslide. We're doing great in the polls, and so is Tim. We want to do this as a landslide, and the one way you win, guaranteed, no matter what they do, it's called, we want to win too big to rig. Too big to rig. Too big to rig. Gets too big, and they just say, oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. They got us. Too many votes. We have a lot of votes. So get your friends, get your family, and get out and vote in numbers. And America, I tell you what, like numbers that you've never seen before. I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have the greatest election victory in the history of our country. And to help ensure election integrity, go to protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com. So in conclusion, from Big Fork to Billings, from Glendive to Great Falls, and from Big Sky to right here in Bozeman, this state was built by some of the toughest men and strongest women ever to walk the face of the earth. Montana is the land of cowboys and cattle hands, ranchers and farmers, frontiersmen and soldiers, adventurers and pioneers who charged into the wilderness, scaled the Rockies, trekked through the ice and snow, and carved out a life in one of the most beautiful places in all of God's creation. It's true. I saw that. So true. I mean, it's so true. All of that driving today, there's no place more beautiful than this. Together they built this state. They helped make America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We're a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, lost its willpower, and lost its strength. We are a nation that has quite simply lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It's going to go quickly. With our leadership, every disaster Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have created can be fixed, and it can be fixed quickly. It's going to have to be fixed quickly. We don't have time. Every problem can be solved and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Promise. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream, which you never hear about anymore, will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the worst administration in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past. And our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the one shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of America. November 5th, Election Day, and that period will be the most important day and period in the history of our country. Our country will be greater than ever before. You have to remember November 5th and mark it down, the most important day in history. Because we are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Montana. Thank you. Vote for Tim. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
There we have it. Trump. Wow. There were some interesting things there. I want to, pardon me. I want to take some time and review some of the highlights from Trump's speech tonight in Bozeman, Montana, as Trump here exits the stage. Wow, some interesting things. Hopefully I could pull these all up because there are some issues happening right now with X in particular, with people reporting issues. Hopefully I could get to these video clips of some highlights here. Let's see. It looks like we'll be okay. Thank goodness. Well, one thing that really stands out is Trump saying Biden's going to make a comeback and that there was a coup. That was really something. I'm going to let this play out and we'll get to some of these highlights as Trump leaves the stage, finding the stairs very easily, dancing for the crowd, saying hi to the wonderful people there in Montana tonight. Wow. Thank you guys for joining me, by the way. My name is Vince. We're just going over this breaking news, the Trump rally in Montana. And please like and subscribe, and I'll cover other news and events and things. So I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you all from wherever you are. X, YouTube, Rumble. Thank you all. Keeping my eyes on these chats here. Thank you, Pig Pug, for tuning in. We're chatting a little bit back and forth there. what's this about Trump's plane? Pigpug asks. That, my understanding is it was just a minor issue. They had to make a landing in Billings, and then Trump took a private plane to this event. Trump Jr. went online and said it was just a minor issue, and that's what it is. Hopefully it's just that. Of course, we can speculate and wonder, but that's the narrative there, that it was just a minor issue. I don't know exactly what the issue was, but everything seems fine. It did cause Trump to be a little bit late. Other than that, I think everything's okay. But we'll see. We'll see if anything else comes out on that. That's all I know. If anybody has more information, you can tag me on X. You could put it in the comments. I appreciate sources. If you could provide some good sources with anything you tag me in, that's greatly appreciated. I try to be as accurate as possible with the things that we talk about. So let's take a look at some of these things. Why don't we? Some interesting stuff tonight, as always, with Trump. As he was talking about in his speech tonight, he doesn't do the same speech over and over again like he accused Kamala of. He likes to mix it up a little bit, and he certainly did mix it up a little bit tonight, just a little bit. There is some overlap, I mean, as expected, but let's go through here. See, so thank you guys for sharing this on X too. Many of you have reposted this. I appreciate that. We got a lot of people tuning in over there, so thank you guys. That's awesome. So he took his shot at Kamala, his jab, his trolling. He does a little trolling, as he says. Here's that clip of him insulting Kamala Harris tonight.
Since becoming a presidential candidate, she has refused to do a single interview. You know why? Because she's dumb.
Accusing Kamala Harris of being dumb. Pointing out that she won't hold a press conference. He goes on to say that if you can't hold a press conference, you can't be president. The president needs to be able to hold a press conference. So, trolling Kamala Harris big time. And there was a medical emergency in the crowd tonight. Trump acknowledged it and took a little bit of a pause. It seemed like the person in distress was being treated in the crowd and ended up being okay. Here's a clip from that moment.
A doctor, please. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Take your time. Take your time, Doc. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We love these people. They wait for 2 days sometimes, and then it's tough. It's not easy. Are they okay? Thank you very much. And doctor, take your time. Good. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you.
The crowd begins to chant, fight, fight.
Take your time, doctor, please. We got a lot of time, right? Nice Friday evening. Friday evening in Montana. I think my next drive is going to be about 3-4 hours.
So kind of a heartwarming moment there. Trump, people point out, has a huge heart, and there's many stories displaying that. Here's another clip, and this I found particularly interesting. If you remember, after July 13th, Trump did have a phone call with Biden, and Biden has dropped out of the race. Kamala has gone up, stepped up. Nancy Pelosi went and was being interviewed by some media. I forget who, MSNBC or something, one of them. And they asked her if she's talked to Joe since Joe stepped down. And Nancy Pelosi said, no, I haven't talked to Joe yet. And they asked her, well, are you two on good terms? And Nancy Pelosi responded, you're going to have to ask Joe Biden that question. So it seems that there's some animosity between Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. And it all kind of makes sense if you hear what Trump's saying. He's saying it was a coup. This is the first coup. It was a coup. And I think that it's being implied that Joe Biden is not happy with Nancy Pelosi. Joe Biden is not happy with Barack Obama. Joe Biden is not happy with Kamala. And Trump said this tonight, which I found pretty fascinating. I don't know if it's true or what, if this is going to happen, if it's a possibility, if Trump knows something that nobody else does. Maybe some people know, but it's interesting that Trump says this.
Coup. That was the first coup in the history of our country. And it was very successful. He said, okay, I'll leave. If that's what you want, I'll leave. And now he's seeing what the competition is. I hear he's going to make a comeback at the Democrat convention. He's going to walk into the room and he's going to say, I want my presidency back. I want another chance to debate Trump. I want another chance.
So he's saying that Biden is going to come to the DNC and make a comeback and try to say he wants to be president again. That's going to be a nightmare. If that happens, that's going to be really hard to explain, right? Because they already came out with him saying, I'm leaving because it's the best thing for the country, right? That was the reason he gave. It's the best thing for the country. Of course, people are accusing him of being incompetent or medically unfit. There's all kinds of accusations, and that's the reason Trump is saying that Kamala forced him out and that it was a coup. Who knows? You know, wow. So maybe Biden's gonna turn on everyone else, right? Shout out to MJ Truth Ultra. If you guys want some good information, follow MJ.
A doctor, please. Doc Coup. That was the first.
Follow MJ Truth Ultra.
In the house. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I can't. The audio keeps automatically playing. Follow MJ Truth Ultra at MJ Truth Ultra on X if you want some good information. Also, just clips like this that he's been doing tonight through this speech, and he typically does do that, so it's pretty cool. Great account to follow on X if you're on there. Also follow me, and I'll be on there, and we could interact and have fun, share stuff. Rex says no, he's gonna walk in and go, come on, man. Maybe, huh? Yeah, so Trump said they forced him out. It was a coup. I hear he's gonna make a comeback. Maybe. That really makes me think. Yeah, and I was talking to Pig Pug, and she's like, Nancy's not gonna let that happen. They're not gonna let it happen, basically, in more words. So Pig Pug, Rex says it was a hydraulic issue on the plane. Hopefully nothing major. I don't know what hydraulic or what, but I'm sure we'll hear more on that soon. If not, then maybe there's already stories out there. I don't have them in front of me right now. If anybody tags me in one, I'll pull it up. But let's look at a couple more things here from tonight's speech in Montana from Trump, and then we'll move on with stuff and get into the weekend, which is going to be good. It's going to be a good weekend, y'all. They forced him out. He also dug into Kamala again. He played a couple clips of all of Kamala's just moments in Kamala's history that are embarrassing for her and all this. He played a couple clips that he has about Kamala, and he also went and said this about her IQ, which I think we can expect Kamala to, what do they say, snap back or whatever. But listen to what Trump said about Kamala.
What they are doing is, in my opinion, totally illegal. Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ. But we'll find out about her IQ during the debate. Okay, let's find out about her IQ.
The debate.
So
he talked about the debate more. He said Kamala agreed to one debate. She's scared to do the other debates. I'm paraphrasing, by the way, but Trump did acknowledge that she's doing one debate instead of the 3 or more that Trump's willing to do. And it's because I think the general consensus is she doesn't want to go on Fox or anything like this, which I don't even like Fox, really. But I guess they're a little bit more favorable towards Trump, whereas other news agencies might be more favorable towards Kamala. I think it's pretty clear. at this point, and I don't think Trump's giving her an inch. I think Trump gave Biden a lot of leeway for his debate because there was just no competition, clearly, and that was sort of the demise of Biden, if you will. After that debate, it was over. I mean, Biden lost so much support. Everybody was like, whoa. So I think with Kamala, he's not giving her an inch. He's saying, here's the deal, do it on my terms. And she's kind of agreeing to one debate so far and not acknowledging the other ones that she's not going to so far. But we'll see what happens. If there's even that debate, I don't know. There's a lot that's going to happen the rest of this year. So we'll just take it day by day, cover it one thing at a time, watch it unfold. Let's see what else we got. By the way, yeah, I'll come back to that maybe, or talk about it another day. We could maybe talk about other news tomorrow. I want to kind of stay on topic here. This was really interesting too. Have you guys heard of Doug Mills? Trump did mention him tonight in his speech. If you watched the whole thing, if not, if you're just tuning in, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm Vince. Please like and subscribe and all that jazz. I appreciate that. So he mentioned Doug Mills. Doug Mills is a photographer. He's the photographer who captured the bullet that whizzed by Trump's head on July 13th, the Trump assassination day. He took the photograph of the bullet whizzing by Trump's head. Also, the Trump with his fist up and the flag in the background. All of these famous images. Doug Mills. I don't think he was at any other Trump rallies ever, by the way. You could fact check me on that. It was interesting that Trump mentioned him because there is speculation on why he was there that day and not any other day ever. What's going on, Road Dog? Oh, apologies. I think I'm having technical difficulties. Let me look at this. We're going to look at this clip real quick where he mentioned Doug Mills. Wow. Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties on one of the platforms. I apologize. I'm going to send you, let me send them this link so they can come over and watch it. I apologize, guys, for this interruption. I'll just close that. I don't know what to tell you. Everything seems okay everywhere else, right, guys? Anyway, Doug Mills, interesting thing. I think I'll maybe talk about this more in the future, but we'll just leave it at this for now. Let's watch this clip.
Pipeline, do you remember that? The Keystone X. What the hell are these reporters doing over here? Pulitzer Prize winner. Doug Mills, the great Doug Mills, Pulitzer Prize. Even though he works for the New York Times, that's okay. He works for the New York Times, and that's one of the only Pulitzer Prizes that was actually earned. How about they got this woman, Pipeline. Do you remember?
Yeah, so he just mentions it, I think for a reason. Prior to July 13th, I don't think this man was ever present at any Trump rallies. And he works for the New York Times, by the way. Doug Mills. Kind of weird. Testing. Having technical difficulties. Test. I think I'm okay. You guys, I apologize for that brief interruption. So on top of all that stuff, let's see some other quotes. The interesting, do you guys think Joe Biden's going to make a comeback? I don't know. I think it's a possibility, especially Trump might know something if he's saying that. It's probably a big possibility. So I don't know if we will or not, but I think it's a possibility. By the way, we have some serious flooding in North Carolina tonight. Greensboro, North Carolina, flash flooding, horrible stuff. So be safe out there, guys. There's stuff happening all around the country. Earthquakes. Yesterday we had a huge earthquake in Japan, I think over 7 on the Richter scale. We also had one off the coast of Russia, like just an hour or two ago, maybe 2 hours ago. Crazy. So we're kind of watching these earthquakes. They're pretty massive. Anyway, Trump also said he's going to stop the Biden-Harris invasion. He actually referred to Harris and Waltz as comrades. Harris and Waltz at one point tonight. I was chuckling at that, accusing them of being literal communists. He says President Trump today said Joe Biden was exposed during the debate. Likewise, Kamala will be exposed during the debate or debates, but so far she's refusing to debate when Trump was talking about the debates. He also said Kamala can't be president if she can't do a press conference. He said she can't do a press conference. He also mentioned that she wants to take away guns. She wants to defund the police. She wants to allow millions of people pour through the border, which is a huge issue. He also said he guarantees there's going to be migrant crime. It's a guarantee. There's no way to avoid it. It's going to happen, and it's going to be worse if she's elected, is what he's implying in a nutshell, paraphrasing here, which is kind of scary. Look at what's happening in the UK right now. If you're not aware, if you turn on some news isn't going to be covering it. They have other priorities, or geez, I wonder why they're not covering it. But the way that the UK is covering it is kind of sad. But if you maybe on X, you can find some information about what's happening in the UK with their social unrest and riots and violence in the streets and attacks on authority and just horrible situation. This stuff's all unfolding, y'all. This is going to be a wild year. So just get ready, prepare best we can for whatever may come, and hope for the best. Stay vigilant and keep your chin up, keep pushing forward. I'll be live again this weekend, or I'll post some content. So make sure you're following and liking and doing all that stuff. I appreciate all of your support and whatnot. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm going to go out with a nice little blues outro today. So thank you all. I'll be around. Make sure you follow me on X at ReadyF4Any, and you could be in touch when I'm offline. Take care. God bless and Godspeed.